Chapter 420. Qin Gu liked to hang out with Shi Shang whenever he had nothing to do. Gradually, rumors began to spread that Qin Gu was chasing after Shi Shang. Shi Shang was going crazy. She could even have a romantic encounter with this beast while having a meal. Shi Shang silently glared at the beast. "Professor Qin, this is the student cafeteria. Aren't you afraid of spraining your back?" Qin Gu put down his plate and sat across from Shi Shang without hesitation. "When are you coming to class? Why are you so stubborn about whether I go to class or not? Don't tell me you really like me? Let me tell you, a teacher-student relationship doesn't end well. You're so old, and I'm still so young. We won't have a happy sex life in the future." Qin Gu frowned and corrected him. "I'm only 24. Shi Shang. That's not the point. The point is, why are you so stubborn about me? I don't want my students to fail." Qin Gu gave an explanation. "Shi Shang, why don't you want to go to class?" He didn't want to. There was no reason. Shi Shang's eyes turned. There are too many people. She didn't believe that he could chase out a classroom full of people. Reality proved that Professor Qin wouldn't chase out a classroom full of people, but he had another skill. "I'll do it for you alone." "Alone? Here, do it." "Sorry, I'm a little dirty." "Is this Professor Qin really okay? He's definitely coveting my beauty." Scared, Qin Gu felt that the girl opposite him was looking at him as if he was a pervert. "Student Xiao Chu, since you... Professor Qin, why don't we have a competition? If I win, don't bother me anymore, okay? I just want to be a quiet beauty and watch the male and female leads." However, this random professor insisted that she study. "Study my ass." Qin Gu thought for a moment. "Okay. If you lose, you have to go to class on time." Shi Shang raised his chin and said arrogantly, "Impossible. I can beat you with just a finger." Qin Gu. This girl is really arrogant. The two set a time for the competition. It was this weekend. The location was the classroom occupied by Chen Shi's team. On the weekend, Shi Shang arrived early in the morning. Qin Gu arrived half an hour later than Shi Shang. The members of Chen Shi's team were basically holed up in this classroom, eating, drinking, peeing, and sleeping. So basically, all of them were present. When they saw Professor Qin, these people were very excited. Professor Qin only taught second-year classes. Other than Chen Shi, who came in through the back door, the others were all third-year and fourth-year students. They had no chance to meet this legendary gold-plated professor. "Hello, Professor Qin." "Hello." Qin Gu greeted them politely. "Professor Qin, have you had breakfast?" "Yes, I have." "Professor Qin, drink some water." "Professor Qin." After the passionate fans calmed down, Shi Shang took his laptop and sat across from Qin Gu. "What do you want to compete in?" Adhering to the fine tradition of ladies first, Qin Gu asked Shi Shang. "Let's see who can crack the source code of Divine Fantasy in the shortest amount of time," Shi Shang said as he turned on the computer. "Of course, you can choose another game." Choo-choo. Chen Shi was surprised. How could the source code be cracked so easily? Moreover, it was someone else's game. If something happened, he would have to take responsibility. "Okay." Qin Gu agreed without any hesitation. Hey, Professor, how can you mess around with her? No, Choo-choo doesn't know these things at all. Even if she does, it should only be at the beginner level." With this thought, Chen Shi felt a lot more at ease. However, when Chen Shi saw the rows of letters on Shi Shang's computer jumping at a frightening speed, he suddenly had a bad feeling. Combining the contents of her conversation with the sponsors last time, Chen Shi came to a realization. It seemed, his brother was very familiar with computers. In the entire classroom, only the sound of two people typing on the keyboard could be heard. The game, Divine Fantasy, had been running for almost 5 years and was still very popular. It was easier said than done to crack the source code of a game like this. The sun slowly rose into the sky and then set in the west. Shi Shang's speed slowed down. She switched from 2 hands to 1 hand. She also stopped typing on the keyboard and only tapped a few times occasionally. Senior, is there anything to eat? Shang closed the computer and turned to ask the person who had been watching them. The senior who was being asked immediately nodded and turned to get the takeout he had just ordered. After heating it up, he brought it to Shang. Shang ate the bento box while looking at Gu. Gu stared at the screen with a serious expression, his fingers still jumping quickly. Just as she ate a few mouthfuls, Gu slowed down. He glanced at Shang from the corner of his eyes. Seeing her calm appearance, Gu had a feeling. He had lost. You promised not to make me attend classes in the future. Shang told Gu to delete the things on her computer after he finished looking at it. Gu also deleted the traces on the computer and stood up silently. When he reached the door, he said, I admit defeat. Take care, Professor Qin. Shang waved a small handkerchief she had pulled out of nowhere. Qin Ji's figure quickly disappeared through the door. He looked into the distance of the school and felt a little uncomfortable. It seemed there was no reason to see her again. Gu felt that something was wrong with him. His thoughts were a little out of his control. This had never happened before. Chao Chu, Chao Chu. He muttered this name a few times. It was unfamiliar. But every time he met her eyes, he felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. After Gu left, Shang didn't have time to rejoice when the system's voice suddenly rang out. Hidden mission. Every week. Shang. Hidden mission equals Feng Ci. Calm down. Calm down. Shang waited for the system's follow-up. About 30 seconds later, the system's voice rang out. Target. Gu. Mission. Literal meaning. Please understand on your own. Gu has the same name, so the person she offended just now was the target of this mission? And it could be her Feng Ci? Calm down. Calm down. Calm down my ass. Your father, have just offended him. System, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Where's I's sword? The sword was still leveling up. Chu, why do you look so pale? She touched her forehead with concern. Are you tired? I'll take you back to the dorm. Shang walked out with a hopeless expression. She shook his head, took her things, and chased after her. Even when Shang arrived at the dorm, Shang still had a hopeless expression. Chu. She handed the things to Shang. Hurry up and go to sleep. She really wanted to ask her when she learned those skills, but when he thought about how tired she was today, he could only suppress the urge and give her a few words of concern. Thank you. You can go back. Shang carried the things and slowly went upstairs. Right now, she just wanted to hack the system to vent. Fuck, why didn't it give her a mission when she met Gu? Gu wasn't in the storyline, nor was he in the original owner's memories. Such a famous person, even if he wasn't in the storyline, he should still be in the original owner's memories. But since he wasn't in either side, then he must have been erased by the system. How could she forget this? She miscalculated. The system dared to play her like this. Shang went back to the dorm and began to cultivate. Class. Don't mess around. She didn't want to lose face. Asterisk the above content is purely fantasy. Please don't take it seriously. Hashtag thank you to the cherub who tipped me hashtag. Chapter 421. As expected, Gu didn't harass her after that. Shang didn't have time to harass him either. She had to hurry up and cultivate. It wasn't until the winter break and the final exams came that Shang finally showed up. These exams were easy for Shang. After the exams, Shang prepared to pack up and head to the mountains. The spiritual energy in the mountains was better. She had to hurry up and cultivate, then come back to flirt with her man. After stuffing everything into her storage space, Shang walked out of the school gates in a relaxed manner. It was the peak period of the holidays. Outside the school gates, parents came to pick up their students. All sorts of cars were parked chaotically. Shi Shang immediately spotted Qin Gu, who stood out like a crane among chickens. He and Chao Qian were standing together, talking about something. Shi Shang. WTF. What's going on? Sama, put down the villain and let me do it. Shi Shang rushed out a few steps, then abruptly stopped. Wouldn't I lose face if I went over now? No, even if he could be Feng Ci, I can't lose face. Besides, I'm in no position to go over. Shi Shang stood inside the school gates, watching Chao Qian and Qin Gu standing outside. Soon, she saw Tang Jinchen stop a flashy car in front of Chao Qian. Seeing the two standing so close to each other, Tang Jinchen's expression darkened. Chao Qian said something to Tang Jinchen, but he drove off in a flustered and exasperated manner. Chao Qian retreated a bit after Tang Jinchen left. Qin Gu turned around and walked back to school. His gaze swept over Shi Shang, causing him to pause. Shi Shang blinked. He still hadn't decided whether he should greet him or not. Qin Gu had already left as if nothing had happened. Shi Shang. It's over, it's over. That night, Shi Shang took a cab to a remote town. Shi Shang looked it up online. The people here lived especially long lives, and the girls were beautiful and the young men were handsome. Places that raised people usually had dense spiritual energy. The town was built halfway up a mountain. From the foot of the mountain to the top, it was a winding road. It was as if the car would fall off the cliff if the driver panicked. As soon as he got out of the car, Shi Shang felt the spiritual aura rushing at him. Staying here for a few months should be enough for her to confirm whether Qin Gu was Feng Ci or not. The town was far away from the city, and the scenery was beautiful. Many people came here for sightseeing, and the town also developed a tourism industry. Shi Shang rented a house in the town. Shi Shang spent most of his time on the mountain. He went down the mountain occasionally, but it was always at night, so he rarely met anyone. It was easy to snow on the mountain, but Shi Shang found that when it snowed, the reiki was thicker, so she stayed on the mountain for a long time. Shi Shang didn't return to school until a month after school started. If Shi Shang hadn't left a letter for Chan Shi before he left, Chan Shi would probably have called the police to look for her, a missing person. As for the Chow family, Shi Shang had made up an excuse to deceive Father Chow, but Mother Chow did not do anything. She probably did not want to see her rebellious daughter. Some biological mothers were even scarier than stepmothers when they were ruthless. Qin Gu would take attendance every day in class, but every time he called Chao Chu, no one answered. He heard that Chao Chu hadn't come to register yet. Qin Gu felt a little strange. He couldn't tell what it was, but it was strange. He always felt that his thoughts were out of control. Zhao Jin. Here. Lu Pan. Here. Chao Chu. Zhou Wu. Qin Gu didn't stop and had already started to call the next name. However, two voices answered at the same time. He frowned. Those who answered, stand up. The student named Zhou Wu was very innocent. He didn't let anyone answer for him. Shi Shang sat slightly behind, and Chen Shi sat next to her, trying hard to hold back his laughter. Now that the professor knew that this guy wouldn't come to class, he would just call out the names during attendance. However, she suddenly came. Shi Shang kicked Chen Shi under the table and stood up. Professor Qin, I didn't answer for anyone. Qin Gu suspected that he had seen wrong. This person who skipped classes all year round actually came to class? Who's this girl? Why haven't I seen her before? Who else could it be? Chao Chu, the only one who dares to skip Professor Qin's class. I worship this awesome person. They had personally experienced how scary Qin Gu was. He would overturn the slightest mistake and start all over again. He was simply a late-stage Virgo patient. Sit down. Qin Gu continued to take attendance with the roll call, and then the class began. His gaze occasionally swept over Shi Shang. Shi Shang spent most of his time with his head down playing with his phone. He didn't even bring a book, let alone listen to his lecture. She actually dared to not hand in her phone. Shi Shang felt that class was really a torture. Time seemed to be held down by someone, and he didn't move at all. When the class finally ended, a group of people rushed out of the classroom as soon as Qin Ge said class was over, as if they were afraid that Qin Ge would call them back. Choo-choo, let's go. Chen Shi packed up his things and called Shi Shang, who was still sitting in his seat. You go first. I have something to do. Chen Shi asked curiously, what is it? It was a miracle that she came to class today. He didn't have time to ask why. I'll tell you later. You go first. Chen Shi, hurry up. Someone outside the classroom called Chen Shi. Okay then. Remember to go eat. I'll go first. The classroom quickly emptied out, and Qin Ge leisurely packed up his things. Shi Shang stood up and walked down the stairs. Qin Ge finished packing and was blocked by Shi Shang. She asked with a smile, Professor Qin, do you have time? No. Qin Ge walked around her. Shi Shang. I knew it. Feng Xiai, that damned Sundara. I tortured him so much last time. He definitely won't be nice to me. Shi Shang chased after him. Professor Qin, didn't you say that you wanted to give me a private class last semester? I thought about it and think it's okay. What do you think? Qin Ji's expression changed as he replied, I don't need your grades. Her grades last semester were barely above the line. He went to look at her answer sheet. She didn't fill in a lot of the questions, and the programming paper at the end was as simple as possible. She didn't do anything complicated, so he let her fail her class. You don't have to come to my class. I have nothing to teach you. Qin Ge threw down these words and strode away, quickly disappearing from Shi Shang's sight. Shi Shang, ha! This is what they mean by not cherishing something when it's yours, but wanting it when it's not. People are all despicable. Pretentious Shang evolved into despicable Shang. Pretentious Shang became even more King awesome. Shi Shang secretly thought about how to get her beast, Tui, Professor Qin back. Xiao Chu. Shi Shang looked up. Chao Qian was standing not too far away from her. She walked over in a few steps, and her expression and tone were a little distant. Where have you been recently? Mom's worried about you. Go home and take a look. Chao Qian was just passing on a message, so she didn't have any intention of staying. I still have things to do. I'll be leaving first. Would Xiao Mu be worried about her? Maybe, maybe not. Don't doubt it. There really are those kinds of mothers who treat their own daughters as enemies. If you love me, please vote. My votes have decreased a lot recently. Heartache. Don't you love me anymore? Chapter 422. Shi Shang took the time to go home, but Mother Chow scolded her the moment she saw her. Father Chow wasn't around, so Shi Shang turned to leave. She didn't come back to be scolded. Mother Chow grabbed her and refused to let go. Chow Chu, where have you been fooling around for the past 2 months? You're not even home. Do you have any shame as a girl? I didn't give you any money, so whose money did you spend? Did you learn from those little vixens to seduce men outside? Shi Shang stood at the door, speechless. Was this something a mother should say? She hadn't even said a word when she came back, but she had already started to fill in all the details in her head. She was even slandering her own daughter. She was drunk. Chao Chu was the one who had been adopted, right? Let go of me. If you don't explain yourself today, I won't let you leave. What have you been doing outside? Mother Chow questioned sternly. Shi Shang took a deep breath. I'm not being kept as a mistress. I didn't do anything shameful. Are you happy now? Where did you get the money? Mother Chow wouldn't let it go. I earned it myself. Earned it yourself. Mother Chow's face was full of doubt. Do you think I don't know what you're capable of? Where did you get the money? Shi Shang, if this was in ancient times, I would have drawn my sword and killed you. Where was I's sword? It was still upgrading. Shi Shang pulled her hand out in frustration and rushed out of the house. Chao Chu. Mother Chow's exasperated voice came from behind. After leaving the house, Shi Shang walked down the street alone. She really didn't understand why Mother Chow didn't like the original owner so much. She couldn't see any warmth from Mother Chow. No matter what their daughter had done, any parent would be worried about whether she was doing well or not after leaving home for 2 months without any news. She wasn't like Mother Chow, who showered her with questions and scoldings. Unable to figure it out, Shi Shang quickly threw the question to the back of her mind. Before returning to school, Shi Shang found a random place to eat. There were many good restaurants near the school. The one Shi Shang chose was a high-end one. The environment was beautiful and quiet, and the food was famous for being delicious. She sat alone by the window. Halfway through her meal, she suddenly heard a familiar voice behind her. Shi Shang turned around and looked through a row of green plants. He could vaguely see the person sitting behind. Tang Jinchen and Chao Chen Chen. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Junior Tang, it's really impossible between us. Why? Tang Jinchen seemed a little agitated. Don't talk to me about age, I don't believe in that. In any case, it's impossible. Chao Chen Chen's tone was resolute. Junior Tang, please don't harass me again. Chao Chen Chen. There was the sound of bowls and chopsticks colliding. Shi Shang turned his head to look. Tang Jinchen grabbed Chao Chen Chen's hand and placed his other hand behind her neck, pulling her in front of him. With a table between them, they kissed in a very difficult position. Their position was in a blind spot. As long as no one came over, no one would be able to see what they were doing. However, if the commotion was too big, it would attract the attention of others. So Chao Chen Chen didn't dare to make any large movements. Tang Jinchen's back was facing Shi Shang, so Shi Shang couldn't see his expression. He only saw Tang Jinchen abruptly release Chao Chen Chen. Chao Chen Chen frantically wiped her mouth. Tang Jinchen, are you crazy? I'm 4 years older than you. It's impossible between us. I don't care. I care. Chao Chen Chen sounded like she was about to cry. I care, okay? Chen Chen. Chao Chen Chen took a deep breath. I told you I have someone I like. Tang Jinchen, you'll meet someone better. Stop bothering me and let me live. Tang Jinchen seemed to be enraged. He growled, how am I inferior to him? Nowhere, Chao Chen Chen said, emphasizing each word. Qin Gu, over here. Chao Chen Chen suddenly called out. Shi Shang tightened his grip on his spoon and looked in the direction of the door. Qin Gu was coming in through the door. Hearing Chao Chen Chen's voice, he lifted his head slightly and frowned. His gaze swept over to Shi Shang next door, and his frown deepened. Shi Shang looked at him expressionlessly. For some reason, Qin Gu felt a little guilty. So guilty that it was baffling. What am I guilty about? I'm not guilty. I'm not even close to her. After reassuring himself, Qin Gu walked straight towards Chao Chen Chen. When he passed by Shi Shang, his gaze swept over her. But she had her head lowered, scooping up desserts from an exquisite plate and shoving them into her mouth. She didn't look at him. Only when he passed by did Shi Shang abruptly put down his spoon. The spoon collided with the table, producing a crisp sound. Qin Ji's body trembled. He wanted to immediately turn around and leave. But Chao Chen Chen had already gotten up and walked over to him. Junior Tang, my boyfriend is here to pick me up. Thank you for your hospitality. Chao Chen Chen. Tang Jinchen's eyes reddened. Chao Chen Chen smiled at him, then walked out with Qin Gu. Let's go. Did you finish class late today? Qin Gu nodded. On the way back, he intentionally glanced at Shi Shang. But there was no one there. He didn't notice when she left. Qin Gu suddenly felt a little irritated. But when he walked out of the restaurant, he saw a girl standing outside. She was on the phone, her expression somewhat languid. He didn't know what she was saying, but her lips actually twitched into a smile. Chao Chen Chen was in a hurry to leave, so she didn't notice Shi Shang. Qin Gu drove over. When they got in the car, He subconsciously looked in the rearview mirror. She'd already hung up and was looking in his direction. Chin-gu felt even more guilty. This emotion came out of nowhere and surged violently. It was as if he'd done something wrong to her. But he wasn't even close to her. He hurriedly started the car. Her figure slowly grew smaller in the rearview mirror before finally disappearing. But Chin-gu didn't feel relaxed at all. He felt like he might have been possessed. Shang put the phone back to his ear. "I'll go back to school in a bit. I'm not your babysitter. Since you praised me, fine." Shang hung up, then turned around and entered the restaurant again. She ordered a few dishes and had them pack up. While waiting for the food to be packed, Tang Jinchen walked past her with a dark expression. After taking a few steps, he turned back. "Chao Chu. Shang. What are you doing?" "I didn't do anything to you." Tang Jinchen then said, "Be my girlfriend." His tone was extremely domineering, as if he was notifying Shang instead of asking for his opinion. "Shang. Did the female lead provoke you so much that you went crazy?" "Miss, your food is packed." The waiter brought over the packed food. Shang took it and smiled at Tang Jinchen. "Not interested." "You're rejecting me?" Tang Jinchen's face was full of disbelief. "You can treat it as me trying to get your attention." Tang Jinchen, * little fairy, little vixen, you've already gotten my attention. Come vote, or else we'll have sex. Chapter 423. Tang Jinchen chased after Shang. "You don't like me? You didn't activate the 'everyone loves me' buff, so why should everyone like you?" Tang Jinchen felt a bit uncomfortable being stared at like Shang was looking at an idiot. "What's your relationship with Chao Chen?" Tang Jinchen changed the topic. At that time, he'd heard her call Chao Chen Jeje, and both of them had the surname Chao. "Aren't you the son of the school's chairman?" Shang looked at him strangely. Something like this can be easily found out with a simple order. Tang once again felt Shang's disdain. "You're sisters with Chao Chen, right? Is she really dating Chin-gu?" Tang didn't know if it was his imagination, but he suddenly felt like there was something wrong with the girl in front of him. Shang flagged down a cab and got in. Only then did he roll down the window and say to Tang "If they're really dating, I'll kill them." Of course, the premise was that Chin-gu was Feng Ci. Tang stared blankly at the car that had already driven off. Shang delivered the takeout to Chan Shi and the others. Compared to last semester, this place was even messier. "Junior, you're so nice. This is actually Mai's signature dish." Mai was the abbreviation for that restaurant. It was said to be the translation of "meeting you." "Follow Junior and you'll have meat to eat. Junior, help us take a look at this program." A senior pushed a laptop to Shang. Shang had some impression of him. He had the same surname as Chen Shi and was called Chen Xiao. He was already in his 4th year and was about to graduate. He'd originally wanted to look for a job, but this project was holding him back. Hey, that's enough. Chu isn't here to work for you guys." Chen Shi naturally sided with Shang. Chen Xiao laughed mischievously, then winked at Chen Shi. Use your resources wisely. Junior is so amazing." Even Professor Qin admitted defeat. Shang didn't say anything. He took the laptop and helped them take a look. When they finished eating, he also put down the laptop. "There aren't any major problems. I've already noted down the areas that are problematic. You guys can fix it yourselves." Shang pointed at the paper on the table. "Thank you, Junior." A group of people rushed to the computer noisily. Chen Shi walked over to the Shang and said, "Let's go, I'll send you back. We'll leave these animals behind after we've finished using them." "Hey, young Master Chen, who are we doing this for? Don't bite the hand that feeds you." A certain senior took the time to raise his head and refute Chen Shi. The corner of Chen Shi's mouth twitched. How many times had he told them that he completely regarded Xiao Chu as a good brother? Chen Shi sent She Shang downstairs. Originally, he wanted to send She Shang back to the dormitory, but She Shang refused. She still had something to do in a while. After being sent back to the dormitory, she still had to walk back. Nanshan International. In a high-end residential area, the houses here were once priced at sky-high prices. Later on, the housing market was in a downturn and the prices dropped. However, the housing prices were still not affordable for the average person. The security guard was standing at the door. When he saw a figure coming over, he immediately stood up straight. When the security guard saw who it was, he smiled and greeted, "Mr. Qin, you're back." Such a handsome man would definitely leave a deep impression on her. She also heard that he was a professor at University A. Qin Gu nodded slightly and swiped his card to enter. "Mr. Qin," the security guard called out. The security guard took a few steps toward him. "There was a lady looking for you just now. You weren't here, so we didn't dare to let her in." "Did she say what her name was?" Not many people knew that he lived here. "No." The security guard shook his head. "I saw her go that way." The security guard pointed to a coffee shop across the street. Qin Gu didn't want to pay attention to it, but for some reason, he turned and walked toward the coffee shop. At this time, there weren't many people in the coffee shop. Qin Ji's gaze swept across the place. When his gaze landed on someone, his gaze paused. The other party seemed to have seen him too and waved at him. Qin Gu hesitated for a moment before going over. His expression was colder than before. "Why are you here?" "To see if you're doing well," the other party replied. "I'm doing well. Being a teacher in school? Is that considered doing well?" The woman with exquisite hairstyle sneered disdainfully. Then, she looked at Qin Gu with some affection. "Qin Gu, come back. As long as you marry me, everything I have will be yours." "I don't need those." "Qin Gu, don't look for me in the future." Qin Gu stood up with an indifferent expression. "I'll pay back what I owe you." "Qin Gu, what are you going to pay back with?" The woman chased after Qin Gu unwillingly. The two of them were in the aisle of the coffee shop and immediately attracted the attention of a few customers. The woman was probably well educated. Being stared at, she was a little embarrassed. She grabbed Qin Ji's arm with a little force. "Qin Gu, stop fooling around. Come back with me." Qin Gu pried the woman's hand away. He looked at her and said slowly, "You're the one who's fooling around. I have nothing to do with your family anymore." The woman watched Qin Gu leave the coffee shop. She gritted her teeth and chased after him. She yelled at his back, "Qin Gu, you'll regret this." Qin Gu paused. Then, he crossed the road without hesitation and entered the neighborhood. He went upstairs and opened the door. He slammed the door. The sound was so loud that the windows on the side trembled. The room was very dark, but Qin Gu walked to the bedroom without any hindrance. Just as he put his hand on the bedroom door handle, he paused and turned to look at the living room. His eyes adjusted to the light. It was no longer completely dark. He could see someone sitting on the sofa in the living room. Someone was there. There was a light switch in the living room next to the bedroom. He pressed it. The dark living room was immediately filled with soft light. Qin Gu and the person on the sofa looked at each other without any hindrance. Space froze for a moment. "Xiao Chu." "Professor Qin, I've been waiting for you for 3 hours and 46 minutes. Shi Shang looked at his phone and read the time. "Sorry." Qin Gu instinctively apologized. Then he realized what he was apologizing for. Why was he apologizing to her? This was his house. Qin Ji's face darkened. "How did you get in?" His door had a fingerprint lock. If someone deliberately broke it, it would automatically call the police. But thinking of her ability, it didn't seem difficult for her to break in. However, Shi Shang pointed to the open balcony of his house. Through the window. Qin Gu. His house was on the 18th floor. She dared to come in through the window? Shang really did come in through the window, but he came down from the roof. This building had a total of 20 floors, and the roof was very close to the 18th floor. It took some effort for her to come in. If it weren't for the fact that her iron sword was still being upgraded, it wouldn't have been so troublesome. Qin Gu took a deep breath and glanced at Shang. Xiao Chu, do you know that it's illegal to trespass into someone's house? Shang said with a straight face. No. I'm not a law student. Qin Gu walked toward Shang. Do you know now? Yes. Qin Gu put his hands on the sofa and leaned forward slightly. Then does Xiao Chu know the danger of trespassing into a man's apartment? Chapter 424. What danger? One night stand? Or is it love that grows with time? Love that grows with time. Was it love that grows with time as he thought? Qin Gu had originally wanted to scare Shang, but he didn't expect her to give him such a shameless reply. How could a girl like her have the nerve to do that? Qin Gu stared at her for a few seconds. Why are you looking for me? Shang inched closer to Qin Gu and reached out her hand with a smile. Professor Qin. Qin Gu frowned at her outstretched hand. What are you doing? Shaking hands, of course. Shang said matter-of-factly. Qin Gu. So she broke into his house in the middle of the night just to shake his hand. I'll leave after shaking your hand, Shang added. The girl's face glowed softly under the soft light. His pitch-black pupils were dotted with tiny bits of light. The light spots seemed to be fixed in his eyes, without the slightest ripple. Qin Gu slowly reached out his hand. Her hand was very small and had a bit of baby fat, so it felt soft to the touch. Shang quickly sent her spiritual energy into Qin Ji's body. Almost at the same time, Shang's expression changed. She couldn't send her spiritual energy in. How could this be? Wasn't it Feng Ci? Shang tried again, but it was the same. It was as if something was blocking her from sending her spiritual energy into his body. Qin Gu watched as the girl's expression darkened, and there was a hint of suspicion in his eyes. She was just shaking his hand. After failing for the third time, Shang pulled her hand back and hurriedly said, I'll leave first, Professor Qin. Her mind was filled with the desire to find a place to fight with the system. Qin Gu looked at her figure, which seemed to be fleeing, and was somewhat baffled. What on earth was she doing here? Shang quickly went downstairs and ran out of the neighborhood. Because of the security guard's diligence, Shang was delayed for a moment while the security guard called Qin Gu to confirm. Only then was she allowed to leave. The security guard was also confused. When did this girl go in? There were so many girls looking for Mr. Qin. Shang ran until she found a deserted corner. She took a deep breath. System, come out. Let's talk. Host, I think we have something to talk about. It didn't want to come out either, but the thought of its host getting angry was terrifying. Nothing to talk about. What's wrong with Qin Gu? That's how it is. That's it. Damn it, what's wrong with his body? If you can't explain yourself today, you can just wait to be sent back to the factory as scrap. The system didn't want to speak. It just wanted to be a quiet system. Why did the host want to talk about life with it? Fear. The system was having some difficulty operating, and it took a while for it to reply. Qin Gu doesn't have a bug. Host, you still have to rely on yourself. After the system finished speaking, it disappeared without a trace. It was now scared to death of this host. No matter how much Shang shouted, the system remained silent. Very good, this time when we go back, I'll give you something new to play. Shang gnashed his teeth and walked back. If there was no bug, then it was because of Qin Gu himself. Could it be that he had some special ability? During class, Shi whispered to Shang behind Qin Ji's back, Choo-choo, our project entered the 5th Interstellar Cup preliminaries. Isn't your project a robot? Shang raised his eyebrows. Yes, the robot's programming was approved. Shi nodded, a little excited. Isn't it amazing? As long as we get into the top 3, this project should be taken seriously. Shishang thought of the program he had modified for them. There were many loopholes, but with the current technology, the early stages were pretty good. While the two were discussing heatedly, the front suddenly darkened. Qin Ge, who had been standing on the podium just now, was standing beside Chen Shi. Chen Shi's expression immediately turned ugly. Professor Qin. Qin Ji's expression was stern as he examined Shishang without batting an eyelid. This was the first time the two had met since that day. It was also the second time she had come to his class. Let's talk outside. Qin Ge stepped aside and pointed outside. Chen Shi's face fell. Professor Qin, I was wrong. However, Shishang picked up the tablet that he had somehow brought in from the table and stood up to leave. Sigh choo-choo. Chen Shi looked at Qin Ge awkwardly, then looked at the figure that was about to leave the classroom. In the end, he gritted his teeth, rolled up the things on the table, and chased after Shishang. Brothers should face difficulties together. Qin Ge finished his class with an ugly expression. The group of students in class didn't even dare to breathe loudly. In the end, they still couldn't escape misfortune and were given homework by Qin Ge. Qin Ge packed up his things and left the classroom. Professor Qin. Shishang leaned against the door outside the classroom and waved at him. Qin Ge glanced at him indifferently and turned to leave. Shishang's mouth twitched, and he hurriedly chased after him. Professor Qin, I'll treat you to a meal. Qin Ge coldly refused. I don't accept bribes. Shishang retorted. What bribe? This is purely a teacher-student interaction. Qin Ge suddenly stopped in his tracks. Shishang, who was walking behind him, thought that he had agreed and hurriedly walked in front of him. Professor Qin. Qin Ji's gaze was fixed on the sports field in the distance. Shishang followed his gaze. Chao Chen was standing with a woman. Shishang. As a villain, he either had a grudge against the male lead or liked the female lead but couldn't obtain her. So Qin Ge was originally set to like the female lead? Although Shishang knew that this body setting had nothing to do with Feng Ci, he still felt a bit displeased at the thought. Where are we going to eat? Qin Ge suddenly asked. Shishang was stunned. Fu Yuan. Let's go. Qin Ge followed the steps down the stairs. After exiting the school gates, they had to pass through the sports field. The two of them approached Chao Chen and the woman one after the other. The woman was facing Shishang and immediately spotted Qin Ge. She dropped Chao Chen and jogged over to Qin Ge in her slender high heels. Qin Ge. Coincidentally, Tang Jinchen came over from the other side, so she could only follow Qin Ge. Earlier, the woman had asked her for directions, so she didn't know she was looking for Qin Ge. Qin Ge, I was wrong last time. Don't be angry. How you speak has nothing to do with me. I still have things to do, so I'll be leaving first. Qin Ge cut her off and walked around her. Qin Ge. The woman tugged on his arm. Do you really have to be so heartless? Because of the tugging, Qin Ge didn't continue forward. The commotion attracted a few people's attention. Chen. Tang Jinchen also walked over. Seeing Qin Ge tugging at a woman, he asked Chao Chen with concern, Chen, are you okay? Shishang looked at the chaotic scene in front of him, deep in thought. How interesting. Interesting my ass. Qin Ge, this man, is actually blossoming with peach blossoms. Shishang didn't go forward. He wasn't sure if Qin Ge was Feng Ci yet, so he wasn't in a position to criticize him. If he was, then he'd remember this debt and slowly settle it with him in the future. Qin Ge was a bit annoyed by the woman's harassment. If you're done, go back. Don't come looking for me in the future. * peach blossoms blossom. Chapter 425. Qin Ge. The woman furrowed her brows. Do you really have to be so heartless? Qin Ge pulled her hand away, using his actions to show his determination. What's wrong with me? Why won't you like me? The woman's eyes were misty. We don't belong in the same world. Side mission. Dark redemption. Shang. I'm BBB, just watching a show. Why are you giving me a mission? I still haven't settled things with you for last time, and you still dare to give me a mission? I won't accept it. The system was probably afraid that Shang would cause trouble, so it really didn't continue giving out missions. It was definitely the most aggrieved system in history. Chao Chen broke free from Tang Jinshan's grip and walked to Qin Ji's side. Qin Gu, let's go. Who are you? The woman suddenly shrieked. Who allowed you to hold on to him? Let go. The woman pushed Chao Chen. Chao Chen stumbled, then fell towards Shang. Shang jumped to the side as if it had nothing to do with him, and Chao Chen successfully fell to the ground. The ground was made of rubber, and Chao Chen's hand was bleeding from the friction. Qin Gu gave Shang a meaningful look. Tang Jinshan was enraged. He walked over and helped Chao Chen up. Chao Chu, why aren't you helping Chen? Why should I help her? Shang crossed his arms. I'm afraid she'll crush me. Chao Chu, she's your older sister. Shang's eyes curved. Respect the old and love the young. As an older sister, of course I have to protect my younger sister when I'm injured. Chao Chen's injuries weren't serious. She broke free from Tang Jinshan. Thank you for your concern, Junior. I'm fine. You won't accept me because of her? The woman started making trouble again. Qin Gu looked towards Chao Chen, then caught sight of Shang. The yes on the tip of his tongue somehow changed. It has nothing to do with her. What's your relationship with her? It has nothing to do with you. Qin Gu, I'll give you one last chance. Come with me. The woman suddenly became aggressive. Impossible. Good, very good. The woman nodded. Her well-maintained finger pointed between Qin Gu and Chao Chen a few times before she left in her high heels. You're not going? Qin Gu looked at Shang. Shang looked at him with a half-smile. Go ahead. Seeing Qin Gu about to leave, Chao Chen couldn't help but feel a bit anxious. She broke free from Tang Jinshan's entanglement and chased after Qin Gu. Qin Gu frowned. Miss Chao, I only promised to help you once. Chao Chen's expression froze, a pleading look in her eyes. Qin Gu. If she helped her again, she was really afraid that Tang Jinshan would pester her. Qin Gu wasn't willing. The only time he'd agreed to help Chao Chen was during last semester's break. That time in MY, it was Chao Chen who acted on her own. He didn't know what he was trying to probe at that time, but now, he didn't want the person behind him to misunderstand anything. Although Qin Gu himself felt that it was absurd. But sometimes, it might be better to be a little absurd. Chao Chen, you're lying to me with him? Tang Jinshan could tell there was something fishy going on. He grabbed Chao Chen's hand angrily, not allowing her to leave. Shang took the opportunity to follow Qin Gu. The two of them could faintly be heard arguing behind them. The food at Fu Yuan was on the spicy side. Qin Gu didn't really like it, so he picked at the dishes. He didn't even touch the spicy boiled fish. Professor Qin, you're quite lucky with women. Qin Gu paused in his actions and pursed his lips, not saying a word. Shang placed a plate of fish in front of Qin Gu. Qin Gu raised his head, a probing look in his eyes. Shang smiled faintly. A bribe. No matter what world he was in, Feng Ci liked to eat fish. But he hated fish bones and wished they didn't have any. What do you want me to do? Qin Gu picked up a clean piece of fish and stuffed it into his mouth. Can I not go to class? Can you not let me fail at the end of the semester? Last semester, this idiot actually didn't let her pass. She'd clearly calculated her grades. It was the same whether she went to class or not. Even if she did, she'd only affect the other students. The thought of her chatting passionately with that guy called Chan Shi in class made him feel comfortable. But if she didn't come to class, he wouldn't be able to see her. Qin Gu was a bit conflicted. He finished a plate of fish and didn't give Shi Shang an answer. No. In the end, Qin Gu gave an answer. Shi Shang glared at him and shoved the fish he'd already picked into his mouth. Qin Gu. Childish. Was he someone who could be bribed with a few pieces of fish? Shi Shang paid the bill and left in a hurry. There was no feeling of taking a walk after dinner or holding hands in the dark night. In the following days, Shi Shang went back to skipping classes every day and Qin Gu wouldn't let go of her. But the number of times he could catch her could be counted on one hand, unless she delivered herself to him. The male and female leads were now together, and they were in the honeymoon stage. She watched them abuse single dogs every day. Single Wang Shang expressed that the truth was bitterness followed by sweetness. Bitterness followed by sweetness, my ass. She hadn't found the bug in Qin Ji's body yet. She looked up Qin Ji's information. The Qin family's young master. Boat King Qin family. That was what the circle called the Qin family. As the young master, Qin Gu didn't take over the Qin family's business and came to a university to be a professor. And the woman who came last time was even more interesting. She was the Qin family's second daughter, Qin Ji's younger sister, Qin Xin. Taboo love, tiske. If the person she liked wasn't her man, she would definitely be a spectator. Choo, hurry up and come to the activity room. Chen Shi's urgent call snapped Shi Shang's scattered thoughts back to reality. What's wrong? Shi Shang asked as he jumped off the edge of the rooftop and walked towards the stairs. Something happened. I can't explain it clearly over the phone. Come over first. Chen Shi's tone was serious. Shi Shang frowned slightly and pushed open the iron door of the rooftop. Ah! Shi Shang's scalp went numb from the scream. A man and a woman were leaning against the wall. The woman was below, and the man was on top of her. Their clothes were a little messy, and it was obvious that they were doing something shameful. Fortunately, it wasn't the end. The iron door of the rooftop was soundproof. She didn't hear when they came. Or maybe it was because the wind was too strong. Shi Shang's mouth twitched. I say, why don't you go get a room? Why are you looking for excitement here? Although not many people came to the rooftop, it was still considered a public area, so they should be careful. The woman's face was red. She buried her head in the man's arms and complained softly, I told you to go to a hotel, but you didn't listen. How would I know that someone would come to the rooftop for no reason? The man complained. Shi Shang dug in his pocket and took out something and put it aside. Be careful. The young couple was speechless. Girl, why do you carry condoms with you? There were at least 7 or 8 of them in the bunch just now, right? Shi Shang was innocent. She had just won these condoms from the lucky draw. All the lucky prizes were condoms, which was enough to show the seller's malice. However, the seller told her very seriously that condoms were also very expensive. Maybe it would save her the cost of an abortion. His words were crude, but the truth was not. Not many college students would choose to give birth to their pregnancies. Therefore, the seller said that they gave condoms after careful consideration. Chapter 426. Shi Shang strolled slowly to the activity room. Chen Shi had called her several times to urge her to hurry up. The atmosphere in the activity room was very tense. As soon as Shi Shang entered, everyone's eyes were on her. Suspicion, anger, and doubt. All kinds of gazes fell on Shi Shang. Shi Shang blinked and looked at Chen Shi, who was standing next to her. Chen Shi immediately stepped forward, but said to the others, Don't be like this. This matter hasn't been concluded yet. I believe in Chu Chu's character. Chen Xiao frowned. Chen Shi, it's not up to you to believe it. The truth is right in front of us. Chen Shi immediately became angry. Chu Chu hasn't said anything yet. It's too arbitrary to make a judgment based on a surveillance camera. Let's let her say it. Someone tried to smooth things over. What are you talking about? Shi Shang was dumbfounded. She had no idea what was going on. What was she supposed to say? Chen Shi saw Shi Shang's dumbfounded expression and told her what had happened. Their entry had been secretly sold to a company. Now, the company was suing them. The competition had disqualified them and they were facing a lawsuit and huge compensation. However, they didn't know who had sold them, and the company refused to say. They had only submitted their entry at the end. When they came back to check the surveillance camera, they found that Shi Shang was the only one who had entered and left the activity room on those days. So, they suspected that Shi Shang had done it. Shi Shang had seen the surveillance camera. It was installed outside the corridor and on every floor of the teaching building. But there was none in the activity room. The camera only captured her entering and leaving the activity room on those days. Why do you only suspect me? Shi Shang raised her eyebrows and looked at them. There are so many people in the activity room. It could be anyone. I believe them, Chen Xiao chimed in. Shi Shang blinked. She was an outsider. It was normal for people to believe in her team. But why would I sell your entry? That stupid program was full of loopholes. She didn't know which idiot had taken a liking to it. Why else? For money. Now that she thought about the 200,000 she had brought, she felt that something was wrong. Money? How much can those things be sold for? Chen Xiao seemed to be certain that Shi Shang was behind this. Don't you know how much it costs? Their concept was not bad, but it was still too immature. A model that had just taken shape could not be sold for much money. Of course, there was also the possibility that they had taken a fancy to it and planned to buy it and develop it themselves. Why aren't you talking? Chen Xiao pressed on step by step, yelling somewhat uncontrollably. I saw that you were Chen Shi's friend before, so I let you in and out of the activity room as you please. I was about to graduate, but because of this project, I kept delaying it. Now, everything is gone. So it's my fault. Shi Shang spread his hands. I didn't sell it. It's up to you to believe it or not. Junior sister, what evidence do you have to prove that you didn't sell it? Then what proof do you have that I was the one who sold it? Did you see the contract I signed with them? Or did you see me having a private conversation with them? Shi Shang retorted rudely. Chu, I believe in you. Don't be so agitated. Chen Shi had always been on Shi Shang's side. Look at her attitude. She stole our stuff and sold it, yet she's still so arrogant. Chen Xiao was furious. If you have evidence, just sue me. What are you talking about here for? Shi Shang turned around and waved his hand in the air. Chen Shi did not hesitate and followed Shi Shang out. After they went downstairs, Shi Shang let out a sigh of relief. Why did you follow me down here? You're my bro. Of course I followed you. Chen Shi said matter-of-factly. Shi Shang glanced at him. Fortunately, you're not blind. I've known you for a long time. Of course, I believe in you. Chen Shi patted his chest, but immediately felt a little dejected. But who is that person? You want to know? Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. Of course. I spent a lot of effort on this. Chen Shi's expression was a little gloomy. He spent most of his time here except for classes. How could he not be angry when it was suddenly gone? Let's go. Where to? Internet. Huh? How could he be in the mood to go online? Chu, are you really going? Aren't you angry that they slandered you? We've known each other for so long. Chu, slow down. What have you been eating lately? You walk so fast. I can't even catch up with you with my long legs. Shi Shang booked a private room in the internet cafe, the kind that could seat 2 people. What's the name of the company? Shi Shang asked as he turned on the computer. Chanfeng Technology Company, Limited. The internet cafe's speed was pretty good. The computer was turned on very quickly. Shi Shang searched for the company online. It was not a small company, but the reviews were not very good. Are you sure you want to know who did it? Shi Shang asked Chen Shi one last time. Chen Shi nodded without hesitation. Shi Shang and Chen Shi walked out of the internet cafe. Shi Shang patted Chen Shi's shoulder sympathetically. Chen Shi's expression was very gloomy, and there was a hint of anger. Why did he do this? He did not understand. He was the one who took the lead in this project. Why did he do this at a time like this? For money, of course. Men did it for money, power, and beauty. Women did it for money, beauty, and men. There was no difference. But we've worked so hard for so long. Are we just going to let someone else have a wedding dress? Chen Shi was still somewhat unwilling. A wedding dress? Shi Shang snorted. You think too highly of that small team of yours. There will be a time when that company cries. Just you wait and see. Choo choo. What does she mean by that? Shi Shang smiled but did not answer Chen Shi's question. Chen Shi was in a bad mood. Shi Shang did not ask him to send him back to the dorm. Just a kiss. Someone's here. Who's here at a time like this? If you don't kiss me, I won't leave. Just a kiss? Shi Shang looked at the two lovey-dovey people in front of the dorm and wished he could poke his eyes blind. Another F** king lovey-dovey act. No, I have to find that beast. Bah, Professor Qin to soothe my wounded heart. Shi Shang turned around and kicked a can that some idiot had thrown around. The sound was very loud. The two lovey-dovey people immediately looked over. When Qiao Qian saw who it was, she was clearly stunned. She felt awkward as if she had been caught red-handed. She pushed Tang Jinshan aside and walked towards Shi Sheng. Xiao Chu, can you not tell Mama about this for now? She was very afraid that Xiao Mu would find out about her relationship with Tang Jinshan. Xiao Mu had always hoped that she would find a boy older than her, but now that she had found someone younger than her by 4 years, Xiao Mu would definitely not agree. What does it have to do with me? Shi Shang paused for a moment, then took out 2 condoms from his pocket. Be careful. Qiao Qian, who was holding the condoms. There's something wrong with this little sister of hers. Shi Shang. Why are condoms randomly appearing again? How much did the company pay you for advertising? Little fairy. 1 yuan. Shi Shang. Idiots have no future. Chapter 427. Shi Shang felt that it was wise of the seller to put her in the safety net. She walked from the dormitory to the school gate, and all she saw were young couples doing bad things in the dark. Shi Shang handed out a box, and by the time she reached the school gate, there was only 1 box left. Shi Shang looked around and didn't see anyone who could give it to her, so she had to put it back in her pocket. She took a taxi to Qin Ji's neighborhood. She planned to climb over the wall like last time and enter the neighborhood through the window. She walked to the back of the neighborhood and looked at the wall that was obviously not completely dry yet was much taller. F***CK. The property management of this neighborhood was too professional. The wall was smooth, and the vines from last time were all gone. The little spiritual power in her body couldn't help her fly. Shi Shang scratched the wall. Her heart ached so much that she couldn't breathe. System, I want to talk to you about life and the sea of stars. I'm innocent. Why did I get shot even though I didn't do anything? The wall was too high, and there was no point to climb. Unless she could use her sword, she couldn't climb up at all. But her sword, it was still upgrading. Shi Shang squatted in the corner and searched for things in her space. After a long time, she finally found a ladder. The name of this ladder was awesome. It was called the Cloud Ladder, and it was said that one could go up to the sky. Shi Shang didn't know if it could go up to the sky, but climbing walls was definitely not a problem. The cloud ladder as thick as a thumb lay quietly in Shi Shang's palm. But how did she use this thing? Input spiritual power. No change. Did she need to cast a spell? Mommy, coax. Big. The cloud ladder didn't change at all. Drip blood to recognize it as its owner? Shi Shang took out a knife from nowhere and poked it with her fingertip, dripping blood onto the cloud ladder. Shi Shang felt that the spiritual power in the air was fluctuating faster. Most of it rushed into the cloud ladder, but the surrounding spiritual power was quickly exhausted. The cloud ladder didn't change at all. Insufficient spiritual power. Flip's table. This thing wasn't her sword, and it could change whenever she wanted. What are you doing? The sudden voice startled Shi Sheng. She looked in the direction of the voice and saw Qin Gu standing not far away, looking at her strangely. Just now, he saw her mumbling something about big, 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 and then he saw her cut her finger. Hashtag my student seems to be sick. Hashtag Professor Qin, long time no see. Shi Sheng calmly took back the deceptive ladder and greeted Qin Gu with a smile. Qin Gu ignored her and walked toward the main entrance of the neighborhood. Professor Qin, what are you doing out in the middle of the night? Shi Sheng chased after him. What does it have to do with you? She didn't even come to his class, and she still wanted to control him? Humph. It's so late. What are you doing here? It was almost 12 o'clock. She was a girl. Wasn't she afraid of running into bad guys? Professor Qin was very unhappy. I was waiting for you, Professor Qin. His heart felt a little better. When they reached the main entrance of the neighborhood, Qin Gu swiped his card to enter. The door only allowed one person to pass, so the Shi Sheng was stopped outside. Shi Sheng jumped over the counter with the help of her credit card. The security guard was dumbfounded. Girl, do you think he's dead? Girls who coveted beauty these days were really bold. Mr. Qin. The security guard hurried over and looked at the Shi Sheng vigilantly. Is there anything I can help you with? Qin Gu really wanted the security guard to throw her out, but of course, he could only think about it. He was afraid that she would jump through the window again. She's my student. It's fine. Oh. Being a professor was really good. He had such a beautiful student coming to him. The security guard returned to the security room, looking back repeatedly. He must be thinking that being a professor is really good. He has such a beautiful student coming to him, Shi Sheng interrupted. Get out of here if you're talking nonsense. Qin Gu glared at him coldly. Shi Sheng raised his hands in surrender. Qin Ji's house was very clean. Shi Sheng didn't look carefully last time. This time, he came in and looked around Qin Ji's house like an inspection official. Of course, she didn't go to the bedroom. After all, that was a private area. They didn't have anything to do with each other yet. Qin Gu changed into home clothes and went into the kitchen to make food. He didn't care what Shi Sheng was doing outside. Sometimes, trust was so inexplicable. Although they weren't very familiar with each other, they were very assured. Shi Sheng popped his head out of the door. Professor Qin, what are you doing? Qin Gu didn't answer. I haven't eaten either. I haven't eaten since noon. Give me a big bowl of noodles. Did she think this was a restaurant? She even brought food? Qin Gu frowned. She hadn't eaten at noon. What was she doing? Shi Sheng looked at the small bowl of noodles Qin Gu brought to the table. I'll make noodles for you. It wasn't enough. She really hadn't eaten since noon. She also spent so much time with Chen Shi at the internet cafe. How could she have time? That's it. Shi Sheng saw that Qin Gu didn't intend to go into the kitchen and couldn't help but ask. It's up to you whether you want to eat or not. Qin Gu sat down, picked up the chopsticks, and began to eat. Shi Sheng, who told you to offend her? Serves you right. Shi Sheng took 2 bites of noodles. His eyes suddenly lit up. Professor Qin, you're so good at cooking. Qin Gu pretended not to hear and ate quietly. Shi Sheng slurped the noodles quickly but didn't make a lot of noise. Qin Gu looked up and sized him up. A small bowl of noodles wasn't much. Shi Sheng finished it in a few minutes. His stomach was still empty after eating, but it was much better than when he hadn't eaten anything before. Qin Gu took the bowl, washed it, dried it, and put it in the cupboard. The pot next to him was bubbling. After he finished washing the dishes, Qin Gu turned off the fire and took out a clean bowl. He scooped out a bowl of porridge and took out the dishes warmed in the microwave. Shi Sheng was still sitting at the dining table, looking at the ornaments he had placed on the display cabinet in the living room. Qin Ji's face darkened. He put down the ornaments. Not hungry anymore? Shi Shang immediately put down the ornaments. I'm hungry. It took longer to make porridge than noodles, so he made a small bowl of noodles for her to fill her stomach. Professor Qin, you're so nice, Shi Shang said vaguely as he drank the porridge. Aren't you going to class if I'm nice? Qin Ge put the ornaments back in place. Looking at the sofa that she had messed up at some point, he wanted to kick her out. Class, what kind of class is this? Professor Qin, why don't you give me private tutoring? Qin Ge. Shi Shang was already imagining the professor giving her a private tutoring session. Unfortunately, she refused. After all, she wasn't sure yet. Qin Ge put the ornaments away one by one. We'll start tomorrow. Shi Shang. No, Professor, listen to me. I just said it casually. As a professor, you can't do this. You'll be exposed. Obviously, Qin Ge didn't want to listen anymore. Since she had delivered herself to his door, then she shouldn't blame him. Shi Shang thought Qin Ge would refuse like last time, but who knew that he would get himself into trouble. Asking her to tutor. He couldn't bear to look at the image. He'd better skip class tomorrow. I'll send you back to the dormitory. After Shi Shang finished eating, Qin Ge changed back into the same clothes as before. The dormitory is closed. It was almost the wee hours of the morning. It was long past curfew. Although the fourth-year dormitory didn't check the dormitory, going back in the middle of the night would be recorded. Chapter 428. Just let me put up with it for one night. Shi Shang looked at Qin Ge with evil intentions. Chao Chu, staying in a bachelor's apartment in the middle of the night, aren't you afraid that I'll do something to you? Qin Ge looked serious, but his words were not. What do you want to do to me? What do you think a single man and woman can do? Actually, if Professor Qin is willing, I don't mind. Shi Shang looked shy, but her heart was full of negative energy. If this guy dared to do anything to her, she would hack him to death. Qin Ge, as a girl, did she know what it meant to be reserved? Qin Ge shook his head and threw Shi Shang's jacket to her. Patter. Something fell out of Shi Shang's jacket. They looked down at the floor at the same time. Shi Shang, Qin Ge. The atmosphere was strangely awkward. Qin Ge looked at Shi Shang meaningfully. Shi Shang's face was calm. Qin Ge bent down and picked up the thing. He leaned forward slightly and handed it to Shi Shang. Chao Chu. Shi Shang took it calmly and explained, I won it from the lucky draw. Lucky draw? Only one. Qin Ge's mouth was inexplicably cold. He turned and walked out of the door. No, Professor, listen to me. I've given the others away, but I didn't have time to give this away. Qin Ge had already opened the door. Shi Shang gritted his teeth, put the thing back in his pocket, and walked out calmly as if nothing had happened. They were all adults. What was there to be afraid of? Shameless people were invincible. Qin Ge booked a room for Shi Shang in the hotel next door and went home to sleep. Shi Shang was almost a walking emoji. He didn't understand this professor's brain at all. Generally speaking, animals' brain circuits were definitely different. The next day, Shi Shang decisively skipped class. Qin Ge's phone calls kept coming in, and Shi Shang quickly blocked him. Sometimes, people had to be decisive. Say no to things you didn't like. Even if the person who wanted to do something you didn't like was the person you liked. Shi Shang was a principled scumbag. In the lecture hall, Qin Ge lectured on the podium with a dark face, and the people below took advantage of the time when he turned around to discuss. The great truant didn't come again? Didn't you see Professor Qin's expression when he was taking attendance? If the truant was standing in front of him, I suspect he would stab her to death. Wasn't there a rumor that Professor Qin was chasing after a truant? How can you believe that? Professor Qin is so fussy. He must be unhappy that someone skipped his class. That's why he chased after her. She skipped classes for more than a semester. I think Professor Qin is going crazy. That's true. I had to do last week's homework 5 times before I passed. I'm starting to doubt my life. You only did it 5 times, I'll do it 7 times. A group of students observed a moment of silence below. He didn't know if it was too late to change his major now. After class, Chin-gu assigned this week's homework amidst the wailing of the students. When Chin-gu walked out of the classroom, the vice principal who was walking toward him made him frown. Little Chin. The vice principal was in his 50s. His hair was white, and he smiled like a Maitreya Buddha. Vice principal. Chin-gu greeted him indifferently. The vice principal chuckled and pointed to a place with fewer people in the distance. Let's go there for a walk. Chin-gu guessed that he had something to say and nodded slightly. The vice principal first talked about some unimportant things before finally getting to the point. Little Chin, the students have been reacting to your teaching style recently. You know that our school is open to teaching, so the teachers don't have to be so strict. Chin-ji's frown deepened. I know you're doing this for their own good, but you're still young. The more these children are suppressed, the more rebellious they become. I see that you've been under a lot of pressure recently. Why don't you take a break for a while? The vice principal said with a smile. Chin-gu, however, understood everything. The Chin family was pressuring the school. If it was before, Chin-gu would have resigned without a second thought. But a figure involuntarily flashed across Chin-ji's mind. Little Chin, the school doesn't have any other intentions. Don't be pressured. We just want you to take a break. The vice principal patted Chin-ji's shoulder. Vice principal, can you give me some time to think about it? The vice principal sighed. He was the one who recruited this person, and he had high hopes for him. Unfortunately, in front of the rich and powerful, no matter how talented he was, it was useless. Chin-gu was good at everything, but he was stubborn. Take your time to think about it. The vice principal shook his head and left. The peach blossoms around the path were in full bloom. The breeze blew, and the shadows of the flowers swayed. The pink petals danced in the wind, spinning and landing on the shoulders and hair of the boy under the tree. Chin-gu slowly reached out to cover his face. After moving his hand away, his face was cold again. The school only gave Chin-gu a week. Chin-gu went to class every day as if nothing had happened. When he returned to the neighborhood, the security guard looked at him with a troubled expression. Mr. Chin, I'm sorry. You can't go in. Chin-gu didn't ask why. There was nothing to ask. He understood everything. Chin-xian was forcing him. In the noisy bar, Chin-gu sat in a dark corner, drinking glass after glass of hard liquor. Scantily clad women glanced in his direction from time to time. There were also some bold people who moved closer to him. However, before they could get close to him, they were scared away by his cold eyes. Gradually, no one dared to get close to him. With the deafening music and the dancing crowd, it was like entering another world. Choo-choo, do you know what he told me? She looked depressed. He said that you're a girl. Even if you did this kind of thing, you'd be easily forgiven. But he's different. His future is ruined. To hell with his future. Choo-choo, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. If he hadn't asked Choo-choo to go to the activity room, Chen Xiao wouldn't have thought of making Choo-choo his scapegoat. You didn't see through people clearly. Keep your eyes open in the future. Shishang poured wine for Chen Shi. Take it as a lesson. Chen Shi drank the wine like water, and Shishang didn't stop him. People were rebellious. The more you stopped them, the more they wanted it. Chen Zhao's family background wasn't good. Back then, this project was led by him and another senior. In the end, that senior went abroad and threw the project to Chen Xiao. At first, Chen Xiao wanted to do this project well and put all his energy into it. He even put his graduation behind. However, something had happened to his family recently, and he urgently needed money. There was still some money left from last semester's sponsorship, but Chen Shi was in charge of the money. He couldn't get it, so he could only set his sights on the project. Someone had to take the blame for this matter. So, Chen Xiao set his sights on Shi Sheng. At that time, Chen Xiao was desperate. His father owed millions of dollars in gambling debts. If he didn't pay back the money, his mother and sister would be forced to death by the debt collectors. At that time, Chen Xiao only thought about how to get the money. His IQ was basically in the negative. Even if Shi Sheng didn't do anything and directly called the police would quickly find out. As Shi Sheng accompanied Chen Shi, the dancing crowd suddenly broke out into a commotion. Shi Sheng glanced over and her gaze paused for a moment. Chapter 429. Chen Shi's alcohol tolerance was average, so it didn't take long for him to get drunk. Fortunately, he wasn't a drunkard. Shi Sheng called Chen Shi's roommate to pick him up. After handing Chen Shi over to his roommate, she got up and walked in the other direction of the bar. Shi Sheng squeezed through the crowd. The smell of the bar wasn't good. After sitting for so long, Shi Sheng felt a little stuffy. She sat down beside Qin Gu and took a sip of the wine on the table. Cough, cough. Shi Sheng choked. Professor Qin, what are you drinking? It tasted awful. Qin Gu took the cup from her hand and said in a cold and distant tone, Why are you here? Why can't I be here? Shi Sheng raised her eyebrows. Qin Gu glanced at her and continued to pour wine. Unlike Chen Shi, Qin Ji's expression didn't change after drinking for a long time. Of course, it could be because of the light that Shi Sheng couldn't see clearly. After finishing the bottle of wine, Qin Gu got up with his clothes. Shi Sheng hurried after him. It started to rain outside the bar. The drizzle was like countless silver threads falling from the sky. Under the colorful neon lights, it covered the city with a layer of gauze. Everything looked hazy. In March and April, the temperature difference between day and night was huge. Even the rain was a little cold. Because the sun was a little hot during the day, Shi Sheng only wore a thin shirt. When she came out, she felt a gust of cold air sweep over her from head to toe. Damn, what kind of weather is this, Professor Qin? Shi Sheng turned around. Professor Qin was no longer beside her. Professor Qin had already walked out. Shi Sheng. What happened to being a gentleman? Shi Sheng thought about it and still chased after him. Something was wrong with Qin Gu. The two of them walked one after the other. The shops on the street had already closed. Shi Sheng couldn't even find a place to buy an umbrella. Shi Sheng jogged a few steps and tugged at Qin Ji's sleeve. Hey, Professor Qin, you're not planning to take a walk in the rain, are you? This wasn't romantic at all. The most romantic thing was to be done in bed. Ahem, seriously. Qin Gu turned around. He probably did not expect Shi Sheng to be following him. He paused, took off his jacket, and put it on Shi Sheng. Go back to school. Don't follow me. Shi Sheng rolled his eyes. Professor Qin, please look at the time. Do you want me to climb over the wall? Qin Gu subconsciously glanced at his watch. The hour hand had already reached 12. It was early in the morning. Back to my home. He couldn't go back to his house. Ba bie bie. The sharp sound of a car honking came from the side of the road. A red sports car stopped by the side of the road. The window was rolled down halfway, and a young and beautiful woman was sitting inside. Qin Xin. Qin Xin looked like a socialite who had just come out of a high-end banquet. Her makeup was beautiful as she stepped out of the car in high heels. Holding a light blue umbrella, she leisurely walked toward Qin Gu. Shi Sheng subconsciously grasped Qin Ji's arm. A flirtatious slut came to snatch him away from her. Eyes soared. Qin Gu felt the strength coming from the person beside him, and his heart actually relaxed a little. Qin Gu. Qin Xin didn't even look at Shi Sheng. She just looked at Qin Gu affectionately. I'm here to pick you up. Come back with me. Impossible. Qin Ji's attitude was as tough as ever. Hearing Qin Ji's answer, Shi Sheng took a step forward and stood in front of Qin Gu with his petite body. Beautiful lady, I'm keeping Professor Qin. If you want to keep him, please line up behind. The kept Professor Qin. When did he become a kept man? Qin Xian didn't take Shi Shang seriously just now. She had already found out who Qin Ge was in contact with at school. Xiao Chu was the daughter of a small boss. One word from her could make them go bankrupt. She knew best how outstanding Qin Ge was. His excellence was destined to attract many people, but these people wouldn't be the ones who stood by his side in the end. Only her. Only Qin Xian was worthy of him. Qin Xian didn't lose her composure like last time. She carried the elegance and nobility of a socialite. Young lady, do you know how much Qin Ge is worth? You can't afford it even if you go bankrupt. Qin Ge isn't someone you can covet. I'm willing to go bankrupt even if I have to. How could she possibly go bankrupt? We're all F***king humans. Why can't we covet him? Now, cross-species relationships are allowed, but humans aren't allowed to date other humans? In terms of arrogance, Shi Shang definitely dared to pat his chest and say that he was number one. Qin Xian didn't want to pester Shi Shang endlessly. She smiled slightly. Miss Chow, right? Your family's business is just a small business. You haven't even entered this circle yet. Are you sure you want to snatch him from me? When I want to be awesome, the Qin family has to kneel down and lick my boots. Shi Shang didn't say this because Qin Ji's surname was also Qin. Shi Shang snorted. I don't care about the circle you're in. I can't even talk about snatching him because he's not even one of your people. Don't you know that love is free? You're not even his mother. Why do you care so much? The Qin family wasn't considered a top wealthy family. With Shi Shang's ability to make money, even if she went to a top wealthy family to get acquainted, there would still be people who would support her. Miss Chow. Qin Xian's expression finally changed. There was a hint of threat in her tone. It's okay if you're willful, but the Chow family can't follow you and be willful, right? Shi Shang's eyes curved. Miss Qin, it's okay if you're willful, but the Qin family can't follow you and be willful, right? Apart from the way she addressed Qin Xian, Shi Shang returned the same sentence to her word for word. I'm barefooted, so why should I be afraid of someone with shoes? If the Chow family is gone, I can just build another one. I have plenty of money. The conversation between the two was very fast. Qin Ge only reacted when he heard this. He quickly pulled Shi Shang behind him. Qin Xian, this has nothing to do with her. Qin Ji's actions seemed to provoke Qin Xian. There was a hint of ruthlessness in her eyes. Miss Chow, you asked for it. What are you trying to do? Shi Shang pushed Qin Ge away and walked towards Qin Xian aggressively. There was a strange smile on her face. Together with the lights behind her, she looked gloomy and scary. Qin Xian felt her scalp go numb. She couldn't help but take a step back. Miss Chow, what are you trying to do? Nothing. Shi Shang said casually, but he didn't stop walking. He closed in on Qin Xian step by step, until Qin Xian's body tilted and her back was against her car. Shi Shang slammed his hand on the car window and hit Qin Xian with a handsome posture. Shi Shang reached out and lifted Qin Xian's chin. He blew at her like a hooligan. Miss Qin, I see that you're not brave enough. Qin Xian's legs went weak. Did this woman want to kill her? Murder is against the law. Don't worry, you're so good looking. I definitely can't bear to kill you. In other words, killing someone wasn't against the law, so she wanted to kill her? When ordinary people saw people who weren't in the same class as them, their first reaction was either fear, envy, or inferiority complex. But this woman was only arrogant. There was no fear or jealousy. Moreover, it was as if she had eaten explosives. She would explode at the slightest provocation. Most of the time, his number was on the blacklist. The school only gave him a few days left. Choo-choo, thank you for the day before yesterday. In order to thank Shi Shang for accompanying him that day, Chan Shi specially treated her to a meal. By the way, Chan Shi was speechless. By the way, what's going on between you and Professor Chin? Is Professor Chin pursuing you? Recently, gossip about her and Professor Chin had been spreading on the forum. Where did you hear that? Chin Gu would pursue her? She might as well just sleep with him. The forum. You guys have been quite close recently. Choo-choo. Let me remind you that Professor Chin is a teacher and you are a student. You have to think carefully. Even if Chin Gu was very young, he was still their teacher. Who knew what kind of rumors would spread? Teacher and student, don't you think this couple is very cute? Shisheng blinked and asked Chen Shi. Don't read too much novels. Choo-choo. Reality wasn't as simple as novels. Shisheng really wanted to say that this was a novel. But after thinking about it, he decided not to. Otherwise, this guy would call her Chunibu again. On the way back to school, Chen Shi was complaining to Shisheng. Suddenly, a person appeared out of nowhere and blocked their way. Chen Shi looked at Chin Xin suspiciously. This woman was dressed too exquisitely. She looked like a rich young lady. Choo-choo, do you know her? Chen Shi asked softly. Chin Xin glanced at Chen Shi contemptuously and said to Shisheng, Miss Chow, I want to talk to you. Miss Chin, I don't think we have anything to talk about. Shisheng looked at Chin Xin with a fake smile. This girl was quite brave. She was so scared. Chin Xin was actually a little scared, but she had brought people with her today. Those people gave her a lot of courage. What will it take for you to leave Chin Gu? Chin Xin had a feeling that this girl was special to Chin Gu. She couldn't let her stay by Chin Ji's side. How much are you giving me? Chin Xin. How did she know that she was going to give her money? This woman didn't follow the rules. But this saved her the trouble of asking. 5 million. Leave Chin Gu and never appear in front of him again. Chin Xin took out a check and wrote out a check for 500. Chin Gu is worth this much in your heart? Shisheng flicked the check. This is too cheap. Chin Xin frowned. Miss Chow, don't be greedy. You want to send me away with a check, but you won't let me bargain? Damn, could her Feng Ci be bought with money? Chin Gu is not an item. If he's not an item, why are you giving me money? Was there something wrong with her? She was contradicting herself. Chin Xin took a deep breath. I'm giving you money to give you some face so that you won't look so bad when you leave Chin Gu. Chen Shi. She was trying to send him away with money, but she still wanted to give him some face? What face? It was more like humiliation. Chen Shi grabbed Shisheng's arm. Choo-choo, let's go. This woman was crazy. Shisheng told him to calm down and took out a few notes from his pocket. He took out a 10 and 3 1 yuan, folded them on top of the check, and stuffed it into Chin Xion's hand. Miss Chin, take the 5 million. Please don't appear in front of me again. The extra 13 yuan is my tip for you. Chin Xion. Was she using her money to send her away? She was even giving her a tip. Chin Xion was so angry that her chest was heaving. She screamed at the people behind her, "Arrest her!" She was going to teach this ungrateful woman a lesson today. Chin Xion brought 5 or 6 burly men with her. They were wearing black suits and sunglasses, and they aggressively surrounded Shisheng and Chen Shi. Chen Shi pulled Shisheng behind him, his expression turning a bit unsightly. Choo-choo, I'll hold them back. You run first, Chen Shi whispered to Shisheng. With so many people, the chances of the two of them escaping were very small, so he could only let her run first. He was a man, so even if he was beaten up, it wouldn't matter. Chen Shi's small body was like an elephant compared to a lion when compared to the people in front of him. Shisheng shook his head and silently began to take out his sword. She stood behind Chen Shi, so no one saw how she took out a long sword that shone with a rainbow light. But the light blinded many people present. Chapter 431. Sher Shang was also a little dumbfounded. My sword is amazing. King evolved into a Mary Sue sword? That 7-colored light wasn't fake. It was real. Multicolored light slowly flowed from the sword's body, circulating endlessly. Sher Shang was like a retard, looking left and right with the sword in his hand. Other than the Mary Sue special effects, there did not seem to be anything special. Heh, where did you buy this prop? It's quite realistic. Qin Xin sneered sarcastically. Choo. Chen Shi also looked constipated. Why are you still so immature at this time? Sher Shang waved the iron sword. The colorful sword drew a colorful shadow in the air. It seemed lighter than before. He just did not know how powerful it was. He would have to wait until he could casually hack people to test it out. Come on, step back. Sher Shang pushed Chen Shi to the back. Chen Shi nervously stopped him. Choo. Chow Chu, you're quite stubborn. Can you beat so many people by yourself? What are you waiting for? Hurry up and catch her. The burly men who had not moved at all immediately moved. 3 minutes later. Wails filled the air. Qin Xin stood in the distance with a pale face, her legs trembling. Her eyes were full of fear. Some were afraid of Sher Shang, and some were afraid of the sword. She felt that all the books she had read all these years had been for nothing. How could there be a sword in this world that could emit a rainbow light like in anime? Sher Shang stepped on a bodyguard and stabbed the iron sword with a Mary Sue light into his chest. Madam, please spare us. Madam, we're just doing this for money. Please spare us. The bodyguard was trembling in fear. Wasn't she just a little girl? Why didn't anyone tell them that this little girl was so powerful? They wanted a refund. They did not want to do this job anymore. Take pictures over there. Sher Shang suddenly pointed at the onlookers. The passers-by who were taking pictures with their phones trembled and prepared to run away. Take a good picture of me. Remember to add special effects. The passers-by, they thought that she was going to hack them. In the end, she asked them to take a good picture of her. Also, don't you have your own special effects? How were they going to use special effects? Someone was doing a live broadcast on the live streaming platform. The scene of Sher Shang beating up the bodyguards with the Mary Sue sword had made the streamer's fans reach new heights. The bullet screen took up the entire screen. Are they filming a movie? Mary Sue special effects? Awesome, my Mary Sue. The light of Mary Sue conquers the world. This girl is so handsome. No, I'm turning gay. Why was the background so similar to a university? Host requesting coordinates. Also seeking coordinates. So Mary Sue's light can also be so beautiful. Good Sue. The video of the fight between Sher Shang and Sher Shang was also uploaded to various social media platforms. Many people expressed that it refreshed their understanding of Mary Sue's light. With 9 points of good looks, handsome action scenes, and Mary Sue special effects, Sher Shang successfully became an internet celebrity. At this moment, the internet celebrity Shang was still stepping on the bodyguard. She smiled arrogantly at Qin Xin. Miss Qin, if you're not convinced, you can call for a van of people. The onlookers. An entire van. How much contempt was this? Qin Xin was a rich young lady. If it weren't for these bodyguards, she wouldn't have dared to provoke Sher Shang, who had left a deep impression on her last time. Now that the bodyguard was lying on the ground, Qin Xin didn't dare to do anything. Qin Xin had seen big scenes before, but she had never seen a girl who would start a fight without saying anything. Sher Shang put away the Mary Sue sword, kicked the unlucky bodyguard, and left with Chen Shi. As the brother of the internet celebrity Shang, Chen Shi was still dumbfounded when he left the scene of the incident. Since when was his brother so awesome? Choo, how come I didn't know that you learned martial arts? She had some basic martial arts skills, but today, she was dancing with a rainbow-colored iron sword as if it was a national swordsmanship competition. This had already overturned his understanding of martial arts. No, where did she get that sword? The iron sword was still in She Shang's hands. Chen Shi glanced at it. It shouldn't be a prop, right? The sword looked very real. There's a type of person. She Shang dragged his words. They're born with a kind of talent. You can attribute it to my talent. Chen Shi. Why don't you say that you inherited some grandpa's legacy? Where did you get this sword? Is it real? How did it light up? Is there something inside? She Shang raised the iron sword in front of Chen Shi. This sword is the legendary Mary Sue's sword. What do you think? Isn't it cool? In the past, you could only see it in memes. Now that you've seen it in real life, are you excited? Iron sword. I don't really want to change the name. Chen Shi. So where did you get this sword? In the end, Chen Shi didn't manage to find out where the sword came from. In the end, he was led astray by She Shang. How could Chen Shi find out something that even Feng Ci couldn't find out? She Shang became famous very quickly. That night, someone found out about her identity. She was a second-year student at a university. She was famous for skipping classes and had an ambiguous relationship with a gold-plated professor. Why don't you go to heaven? The goddess is actually from a university. I'll fill in a university this year. Goddess, I'm here. Confucius said, who made the special effects of Mary Sue's sword? There are no traces of Photoshop. There's hope for domestic dramas. A certain point. Are the people above ignorant? As a member of the audience, I can tell you that the special effects are self-contained. 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 Important things must be said 3 times. Little fairy is me. Speaking of which, why are you guys so focused on that sword? Isn't it the goddess cool kung fu? Cool for less than 3 seconds. Because Mary Sue's sword refreshed our worldview. Old times. Ugly people are always up to no good. Who knows how much money it cost to make it? You guys actually believed it. Are you retarded? Queen Chiao Chu. The person above is retarded. P.S. If you don't like it, call a van of people over. The past can't go back. If you don't like it, call a van of people over +1. It's so hard to choose a name. If you don't like it, call a van of people over +2. Falling leaves knowing autumn. If you don't like it, call a van of people over +3. These netizens not only dug up She Shang's social media account, but they also dug up the novel she posted on a certain website. The novel's comment section, which originally had few people, was immediately occupied by the powerful Mary Sue's sword fans. The original residents were panicking. Dada, why aren't you filling in the holes? What are you doing there? You've attracted so many Mary Sue's. She Shang scrolled through the comment section with a serious face. After a while, she posted all the manuscripts in the stockpile. The original residents were even more panicked. Dada posting manuscripts meant that she was going to be a eunuch. This was simply an immortal law. This account had only been created a few months ago, but there were already 5 books. The longest book was only 200,000 words, and the shortest was no more than 50,000 words. But none of them were finished. She Shang closed the web page with satisfaction. I'm going to be the eunuch queen's woman. Asterisk who can compete with Mary Sue's sword. Chapter 432. Qin Ge sat on a bench outside the school, the light from his phone reflecting on his cold face. The screen was playing a video of She Shang beating up the bodyguards earlier in the day. Qin Ji's entire body was tense. It was only at the end of the video when she knocked everyone down that Qin Ge finally relaxed. Professor Qin, are you alone? A familiar voice suddenly came from behind him. Want to go out? Qin Ji's body shook, and he immediately turned off his phone and turned it upside down. He turned around. The girl was leaning against the bench, looking at him with her head tilted. Her eyes were bright, without any coldness or calmness. It was as if there were tiny ripples in them. No. Qin Ge forced himself to look away and said coldly, no. She Shang propped himself up on the bench and jumped over handsomely to sit next to Qin Ge. Why not? You're alone, and I'm alone. It's perfect. Qin Gu. What kind of reason is that? There are only so many people in this world. He stood up with a cold face and walked away without a word. Shishang, Feng Ci, your temper is really something. Silent at the drop of a hat. Picky at the drop of a hat. Shy at the drop of a hat. Tsundere at the drop of a hat. Why don't you go to heaven? Shishang caught up to Qin Gu. Professor Qin, have you eaten? I've already eaten. Qin Gu had just answered when his stomach grumbled uncontrollably. Professor Qin, your digestion is quite good. Shishang sighed. Qin Gu covered himself with his clothes and asked with a frown, It's curfew time. Aren't you going back to school? No, I have something to do. Shishang shook his head. You have something to do in the middle of the night? Do it tomorrow. It was so late, and she was still wandering around outside. Shishang looked up at Qin Gu and asked with a smile, You care about me? You're my student. Of course I care about you. Qin Ji's answer was very official. I'm not in school right now. Why do you care about me? Shishang pouted. This damned tsundere. Qin Gu turned and walked back, his tone firm. I'll send you back. No. Qin Gu frowned and stared at her with his torch-like eyes. The light in the vicinity was very weak. The hazy warm light was like a thin veil, covering the emotions that were born in the darkness and were difficult to suppress. The leaves rustled in the night wind. Time under the tree was stopped by a pair of invisible hands, stopping at this moment. Don't move. A rough voice came from the darkness. Two men in black hoods rushed out from the side with knives in their hands, aiming at Shishang and Qin Gu respectively. Hand over your wallet and phone. The criminal was probably a habitual offender. He deliberately changed his voice when he spoke, but his imposing manner was not weak. Shishang turned his eyes slightly and looked at Gangster A as if he was looking at an idiot. Robbery? Nonsense, hurry up and take it out, criminal growled. Why did he ask such an obvious question? Was he scared silly? What's the point of robbing me? If you have the ability, go rob a bank. Gangster A was furious. If we can rob a bank, why would we rob you? Shishang shrugged. That's because you don't have the ability. If you can't even be the best robbers, what's the point of you living? You might as well die. Criminal A. What's with all this negative energy? As a normal person, shouldn't he advise them to be good people? Why are you talking nonsense with her? Hurry up, someone's coming, Criminal B urged. Criminal A pushed the knife in Shishang's direction. Hurry up and give it to me. Otherwise, don't blame my knife for not having eyes. Knives don't have eyes because people don't have eyes. Bam! Clang! Everything happened too quickly. Before Criminal B could react, his partner was already lying on the ground. The little girl who looked easy to bully was holding a Mary Sue's sword that shone with a rainbow light. The tip of the sword was pressed against his partner's throat. Where did the sword come from? Where did the sword come from? Where did she pull out such a Chunibu sword from? It must be a prop. 3 seconds later, Criminal B reacted abruptly and rushed toward Qin Gu, pressing the knife against Qin Ji's waist. Shishang narrowed his eyes. Put down the knife or I'll kill him. Little girl, do you think you can scare me with a toy? You're still too inexperienced. Hurry up and hand over the money or don't blame me for being rude. Shishang's eyes darkened. He exerted a little force on the iron sword. Ah! Criminal A screamed. His voice was ear-piercing. In this darkness, it was even more eerie. Let's see if your knife or my sword is faster. The wicked met the wicked. Let's see who's more ruthless. Shishang was clearly not a soft-hearted person. Qin Gu looked at her coldly. Even though he was being pressed against by a criminal, he didn't show any other expression. Big brother, big brother. Criminal A was scared out of his wits. She's really going to kill me. Big brother, save me. Shut up. Criminal B scolded. Little girl, this is a society ruled by law. Murder is against the law. You know this is a society ruled by law, yet you still dare to rob. You don't need to be shot for robbery, right? Are you retarded? Shi Sheng explained to them seriously. This is a surveillance blind spot. You should have seen it before since you chose to rob here. Do you think I wouldn't dare to kill you two scum of society? If you kill us, the police will find our bodies and arrest you. Criminal B pressed the knife against Qin Gu and threatened, "Let us go or we'll fight to the death." Criminal B knew he had met a ruthless person. He didn't want money but only wanted to leave safely. Let him go first. Shi Sheng exerted more force. Criminal B screamed again and again. There was a deep wound on his neck. Big brother, save me. Criminal B's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. We'll let him go at the same time. Today was definitely the most unlucky day for them. They had met such a girl who didn't play by the rules. In your dreams. Shi Sheng snorted. Let him go first. Hearing Criminal A's screams, Criminal B was tormented. After a while, he couldn't take it anymore and retracted his knife. I'll let him go. You let him go too. Qin Gu retracted his sword. Criminal A clutched his neck and scrambled back to Criminal B. Criminal B's eyes were filled with ruthlessness. He rushed toward Qin Gu. Qin Gu frowned and moved quickly. Criminal B didn't even see his movements clearly when he felt a sharp pain in his wrist. The knife in his hand fell to the ground with a clang. Ah! Qin Gu twisted his hand and kicked his knee. Criminal B's body instantly bent and he knelt on the ground. Criminal B's face was contorted. His eyes were filled with disbelief. If this man was so powerful, why didn't he fight back just now? Today was really the worst day of his life. Criminal A trembled at the side. Qin Gu glanced over and he knelt on the ground without any backbone. Big brother, we were wrong. We won't dare to do it again. Chapter 433. In the end, Qin Gu called the police. When the police arrived, Gangster A pointed at his neck and complained to the police. It's her, Uncle Policeman. It's her. She wanted to kill me. Look at my neck. It's bleeding. This is intentional injury. Uncle Policeman, arrest her. The policeman looked at Gangster A's wound with a dark expression. It was just a superficial wound, but there was a lot of bleeding. This was self-defense. Even if she poked a hole in you, it was self-defense. Shut up. The policeman stuffed the two gangsters into the car. Because Shi Sheng and Qin Gu were involved, they had to go to the police station to record their statements. Since they had a criminal record, the police just had to ask them about the incident. Don't date in such a remote place. If something really happens, you'll cry. The policeman sent them away and reminded them, okay, go back. Professor Qin, look, I can't go back now. Shi Sheng stood at the entrance of the police station and spread his hands innocently. Qin Gu glanced at him and frowned. As usual, Qin Gu left Shi Sheng at the hotel and left. Shi Sheng was furious. Next time, he'd just do it directly and give him a damn buffer. This time, Feng Ci was so awkward. Junior Chow, are you free? Can you? No. Junior Chow, are you interested? Not interested. Junior Chow, I like you. Can you go out with me? No. Shi Sheng walked past the school. This was already the daily routine of an internet celebrity. However, there were many people who were interested in her sword. Shi Sheng avoided those people and walked to a less crowded place. She didn't want to flirt with these passionate men. Chen, why are you so disobedient? Shi Sheng's body involuntarily froze when she heard this. Mother Chow came to school? Mom. I really like him. Chen, you're all grown up. I don't want to care about your relationship, but he's so much younger than you. You'll be tired if you're with him. I'm doing this for your own good. You can't be with him. Mom. I'll give you 3 days to break up with him. Otherwise, I'll talk to him personally. It's up to you. Her high heels clicked against the ground as she walked away. After a while, Chao Chen-chen's figure walked out from the other side. Her expression wasn't too good. Seeing Shi Shang standing outside, Chao Chen-chen was stunned for a moment. Then, as if she had understood something, she asked, "Chao Chu, just what have I done wrong to you?" Shi Shang was dumbfounded. She just happened to have a chance encounter with the female lead here. Why was she dragged into this? You told Mother about this, didn't you? Why can't you see me doing well? It was like this when we were young, and it's still like this now. I've always given in to you. Just what do you want? Chao Chen-chen became more and more agitated as she spoke. The internet celebrity Shang, who was the scapegoat. Female lead, what are you talking about? Don't let your emotions explode all of a sudden. I can't take it. Chao Chen-chen was still venting. Chao Chu, what will it take for you to let me go? Why must you oppose me? Who wants to go against you? I didn't do anything. It's all Plot Soma's fault. Are you satisfied now? Chao Chu roared in the end, then ran away crying. Shi Sheng finally reacted. Does female lead think I told Chao Mu? I'm innocent. I really didn't do anything. Chao Mu only gave Chao Chen 3 days. Before she could make a decision, she received a call from Tang Jinchen's older sister, asking her to meet outside the school. Chao Chen was very nervous to meet Tang Jinchen's family. She tidied herself up for a long time before going to meet them. The Tang family was said to be a scholarly family. They had 2 daughters and only 1 son, Tang Jinchen. The person who came was Tang Jinchen's second sister. She looked a bit domineering, and her appearance was somewhat similar to Tang Jinchen's. Miss Chao, hello. Tang Erji introduced herself. Without giving Chao Chen-chen a chance to react, she continued in one breath, I know you're currently in graduate school, and we have no objections to your abilities. But Miss Chao, in terms of age, you're not very compatible with our Jinchen. Chao Chen bit her lower lip. Age again. They're all hopping on my age. It's not strange for an older sister to fall in love with a younger brother these days. Why can't they accept it? Miss Chao, with your knowledge, it's not difficult for you to find a better person. Tang Erji's words weren't unpleasant, but the forcefulness in her tone made it impossible to refute. Let our Jinchen go. He's still young. Chao Chen clutched her clothes. He was clearly the one who chased after me, so how did it turn into me shamelessly clinging onto Tang Jinchen? Tang Erji examined Chao Chen a few times before shaking her head. Whether it's age or bearing, this girl isn't compatible with Jinchen. Miss Chao, here's 3 million. I've checked that you're an adopted child of the Chao family. This money is enough for you to study abroad. You can settle down overseas. Chao Chen seemed to have been provoked by something. She grabbed the check Tang Erji handed her and tore it up with extreme movements. Miss Tang, the Chao family doesn't lack this bit of money. Chao Chen's gaze turned cold. Even if I'm an adopted daughter of the Chao family, it's not up to an outsider to take money from me if I want to leave the country. Tang Erji only coldly watched Chao Chen's actions. Only after she finished speaking did Tang Erji speak. Miss Chao, what will it take for you to leave Jinchen? As long as we love each other, I'll face any difficulties with him. Chao Chen spoke resolutely. It wasn't easy for her to take this step. How could she be willing to die before it even bloomed? In the end, the two parted on bad terms. Coincidentally, Chao Chen ran into Shi Shang when she came out. Shi Shang was following behind Qin Gu and didn't see her. A strange glint appeared in Chao Chen's eyes, but it quickly disappeared. You 2 sisters are really interesting, Tang Erji mocked before leaving with a cold expression. One had an ambiguous relationship with a professor, while the other liked someone younger than her. Chao Chen not only had to deal with Chao Mu, she also had to deal with the Tang family. She also accidentally saw Tang Jinchen entangled with another woman. Before Tang Jinchen pursued her, he was a playboy. Although he didn't interact with any other women during the time they were together. But a dog can't change its habit of eating shit. Now that Qiao Qian ran into him, she suddenly felt like her persistence was a joke. She broke up with Tang Jinchen. This matter blew up. Tang Jinchen practically flipped the entire school upside down. But Qiao Qian seemed to have made up her mind. No matter what Tang Jinchen did, she refused to see him. The people watching the drama at school expressed that they needed to invite the Mary Sue sword to let the Mary Sue's halo shine over the world. Asterisk little fairy. Pleading for votes. Cherub. Vote if there's meat. Little fairy. Vote if there's meat. Cherub. Vote if there's meat. Shang. Drawing sword, are you guys done yet? Your friend Cherub has logged off. Your friend Little Fairy has logged off. Chapter 434. Shang realized that Qiao Qian wasn't the only one who had made a big move. Qin Gu had done the same. He actually stopped coming to class. Why isn't Qin Gu in class? Shang asked Chen Shi. Chen Shi took a mouthful of rice. I heard he was suspended. Suspended? Why? No wonder Qin Gu seemed a bit off a few days ago. I don't know. Chu, you can't have really fallen for Professor Qin, right? Shang smiled. Do I look like I'm joking? Then suspension is pretty good. You don't have to worry about pursuing him. Chen Shi nodded. If you can pursue Professor Qin, Chu, you'll definitely be famous. I'm very famous right now, okay? Chen Shi. That's true. My bro is an internet celebrity now. I heard people are even looking for her to star in a movie. Hashtag the mysterious experience of having an internet celebrity bro. Hashtag Shang couldn't find Qin Gu. No one answered her calls, so she went to the neighborhood to look for him. The security guard told her that Qin Gu couldn't live here anymore. Only then did Shang remember that she'd seen Qin Gu outside at night several times. So he was homeless? Were all the villains in the early days so *king miserable? It was quite pitiful. The sad history of the villains. In the end, Shang used his phone to locate him and caught him at a certain entertainment club. Mr. Qin is capable and thoughtful. Not bad, not bad. Come, let me toast Mr. Qin. A man handed Qin Gu a nearly full glass of white wine. Qin Gu accepted it without a change in expression and downed it in one gulp. Some of the transparent wine spilled out from the corner of his mouth, down his fair neck, and into his collar. The man suddenly gulped. He leaned closer to Qin Gu and placed a large hand on his shoulder. His eyes were filled with malicious intent. Mr. Qin, it's fine if you want to invest, but you have to agree to one condition. Please speak, Mr. Zhao. Qin Gu wasn't looking at the man, so he didn't notice his strange behavior. The man chuckled. Well, Mr. Qin, accompany me for a night. I'll agree to however much you want. Qin Ji's head snapped up. He stood up with an ugly expression and walked out. President Zhao quickly grabbed Qin Gu. Mr. Qin, you have to think carefully. There aren't many people who dare to go against the Qin family. I don't have anything but money. As long as you accompany me for one night, I can help you deal with the Qin family. This man was the best. If she could play with him for a night, it would be worth it even if she died. Just thinking about it made his blood boil. The people around clearly knew about President Zhao's special hobby and let out a few teasing laughs. Some felt it was a pity that such a good man like Qin Gu was fancied by President Zhao. They exchanged glances and left the room. Just now, they had seen President Zhao get someone to drug the man's wine. Excuse me, President Zhao, Qin Gu said coldly. Mr. Qin, those who achieve great things don't bother with trifles. President Zhao reached out to touch Qin Ji's hand. Qin Gu avoided him with a cold face. The disgust and coldness in his eyes made President Zhao feel a little weak. But when he thought of the drug he had given him, he calmed down. He just had to wait for the drug to take effect. Mr. Qin, don't be so agitated. This is a matter of mutual consent. If you don't want to, I won't force you. President Zhao began to stall for time. I'm very optimistic about the project you mentioned, but we have to talk about this in detail, right? Goodbye, President Zhao. Qin Gu bypassed President Zhao and was about to leave. President Zhao reached out to grab Qin Ji's hand and pressed him against the wall next to him. President Zhao was obviously a martial artist as he suppressed Qin Gu. Qin Gu, don't be so shameless. President Zhao's face was gloomy. It's your blessing that I like you. After saying that, he leaned toward Qin Ji's face. Bang! There was a loud sound of the door being broken. Before President Zhao could turn around, he was kicked away and hit the corner of the wall next to him. Shishang's face was gloomy as he stared unkindly at President Zhao, who was in a daze from the fall. Qin Ji's heart trembled. He never thought that she would appear at this time. But now that she appeared, he felt that this was the right thing to do. Qin Gu didn't dare to look at Shishang. Today's incident was a stain on his record. Shishang didn't look at Qin Gu. He walked over in a few steps, turned President Zhao over, and asked fiercely, "What did you want to do to him just now? Is he someone you can touch?" She hadn't slept with him yet, and this man dared to touch him. President Zhao's head was dizzy from the fall, and he slowly woke up when he heard Shishang's question. "Who are you? Who let you in? Do you know who I am? Let go of me. Who are you?" Her tone was very strange, and it made people's scalp tingle. President Zhao was about to speak when the girl who grabbed him continued to say in that strange tone, "I don't care who you are." Shishang stood up and beat President Zhao. "I beat you up, that's your blessing. Who told you to touch him? I haven't even touched him yet. You're so awesome. Go to the heavens and show I who you are." President Zhao was dizzy from the beating and couldn't even speak a complete sentence. After beating President Zhao, Shishang stood there, breathing heavily. After a few minutes, she slowly turned around. Qin Gu leaned against the wall. His face was a little red, and the light in his eyes gradually blurred. Shishang's brows furrowed. She turned around and gave Zhao Zong another beating. "How dare you drug him? Who told you to drug him?" Shishang took out his phone and made a call. The other party said something, and Shishang said the name of the private room. Then she hung up. She took a deep breath and walked over to Qin Gu. He actually dared to come here to drink with someone. He was crazy. What would have happened if she hadn't come today? "Do you still know who I am?" Shishang stood a meter away and asked him. Qin Ji's body was on fire, as if countless ants were gnawing at him. "Chao Chu." Qin Gu called out the girl's name with difficulty. Shishang glanced at him. "You brought this on yourself. Bear with it." Qin Gu leaned against the wall and didn't move. About 10 minutes later, 2 people came into the private room. "Boss, room card." One of them handed the room card to Shishang and glanced at Qin Gu from the corner of his eyes. Shishang took the room card and walked over to Qin Gu. Shishang glared at him. Brother Qin lowered his head guiltily as if he had done something wrong. His face was red, and he looked especially cute. He brought Qin Gu to the room. Because of Shishang's occasional touch, Qin Gu couldn't help but moan. Last time, he was drunk and couldn't remember anything. This time, he was drugged. Shishang's heart was tired. Everyone was frightened everywhere. She couldn't imagine what kind of abyss Qin Gu would have been pushed into if she had come one step later. "Go in and soak in cold water." "Why are you looking at me?" Shishang angrily chased Qin Gu into the bathroom. I'm really innocent about the writer's block. I just finished writing up to this point. The number of words and chapters are just right, so it's not my fault. If you're not happy, then hit me. I'll take the blame. But I still ask for tickets. Nothing can stop my determination to ask for tickets. There will be meat tomorrow. I swear. Chapter 435. After the two of them went at it for a while, the spiritual energy Shi Shang had just recovered was all used up. He didn't give her that name for nothing after all. Let me tell you, I'll pay you 10 million a time. If you want to sleep with me in the future, I'll charge you interest. 100 million a time. All right. He'd pay however much he wanted. Qin Guo wasn't an awkward person. If Shi Shang gave him money, he'd take it. He even felt a bit proud of it. He'd earned it with his body. Could anyone else earn so much with their body? But when he thought about Shi Shang's request, Qin Guo felt pressured again. 100 million a time. How much money would that be? Shi Shang generously gave Qin Guo a card. Babe, swipe as much as you want. Qin Guo took the card, wanting to laugh inside. She said she'd keep me as her mistress. I didn't think she'd really keep me. When the two of them left the hotel, they ran into Chao Chen and Tang Jinchen. The two of them were checking out, looking a bit unhappy. Chao Chen's gaze swept over Qin Ji's arm around Shi Shang's, and her expression turned even uglier. Shi Shang magnanimously allowed her to see. Chao Chen's sense of inferiority and embarrassment resurfaced. She grabbed her bag and fled the hotel. I haven't done this before I left the country. It's a pity this isn't a domineering CEO novel. What's your relationship with Chao Chen? Shi Shang nudged Qin Guo. He hadn't forgotten about this. We lived in the same orphanage when we were young, Qin Guo said casually. Don't worry, there's nothing between us. Before you, I didn't have a woman either. Qin Ji's words contained a lot of information. Orphanage? The information she'd checked before didn't mention Qin Guo being an orphan. What are you thinking about? Qin Guo rubbed Shi Shang's head. I'm the Qin family's proper young master, but the current head of the family isn't my father. Qin Guo had gotten lost once when he was young and was sent to an orphanage by a kind-hearted person. He was later found. Qin Xian isn't your biological sister? Of course not. She's my cousin. What's my wife thinking? All right, they might not be biological sisters, but they're still related, and within 3 generations at that. You sure have guts. This little cousin of his was awesome. She even dared to think about her cousin. The Qin family is a mess. This kind of thing. Qin Guo didn't continue. There were some dark things that he didn't want to tell her. Qin Guo happened to be going to school to handle some procedures, so he sent the Shi Shang to the door of the dormitory. Shi Shang took advantage of the fact that there were few people around to kiss Qin Guo on the face, then ran back to the dormitory to continue sleeping. Qin Guo was helpless. What was she doing at school? However, the two of them didn't expect that just an hour later, a post would appear. Junior Sister Xiaochu, you can still sleep. The senior threw down a pile of books and rushed over. She raised her phone and pointed at the screen. This person is you, right? Are you with Professor Qin? Shi Shang was blinded by the light from the phone screen. It took him a while to see the screen clearly. It was the school forum. Gilded professor and student open a hotel. Is it a moral decay or a shady deal? There were photos of the two of them leaving the hotel together, walking hand in hand on the street, and kissing Qin Guo at school. Xiaochu, say something. Now the whole school is talking about this post. Although Qin Guo was young, he was still a professor. It wasn't good for him to be with a student. Yes, I'm with him. Shi Shang nodded. You really took down Professor Qin? The senior was surprised. Shi Shang got off the bed and said arrogantly, What's so hard about that? I just need to sleep. The senior. You're sleeping too much. Shi Shang pulled out the chair from the desk, turned on the computer, and went to the forum. Everything was done in one go. The account was a new account, and the IP address was an internet cafe. The other party was very cautious. The school hadn't notified them that Qin Guo was suspended, so most people didn't know. The people who left comments were envious, jealous, and criticized him for being immoral. Shi Shang typed on the keyboard. When the senior was scrolling, the post disappeared. Why is it gone? I hacked the administrator's account and deleted it. The senior, my junior, you're amazing. Xiaochu, where are you going? The senior asked reflexively when she saw Shi Shang suddenly get up and walk out of the dorm. I'm going to comfort my new partner, Shi Shang answered without turning his head. The senior, shouldn't you be the one comforting her? After leaving the dorm, Shi Shang lowered his head and walked toward the principal's office. Qin Ge had to go through the paperwork, so he should be there. The post was highlighted and pushed by the administrator, so the whole school probably saw it. As soon as she appeared in school, many people pointed at her and whispered, "She must be shamelessly clinging to Professor Qin. Professor Qin is such a good person. How could he fall for her? How could she use such despicable means? Wasn't the video from before also a sensationalist one?" She waved a few yuan prop around and really thought she was a celebrity. Chow Chu. This loud roar caused the surrounding people to stop their discussions and look towards the source of the roar. Chow Mu aggressively walked over to Shi Shang and spoke domineeringly, "Come home with me." Shi Shang frowned. "I still have something to do." How did Mother Chow find out so quickly? She couldn't be browsing the school forum all day long, right? What do you have to do? Are you trying to seduce the professor? Mother Chow didn't think this matter was glamorous, so her voice wasn't loud. "Yes, I want to seduce him. What's wrong, can't I?" No one could stop Shi Shang's temper. "If you didn't seduce my dad, would you be with him?" To put it nicely, she was chasing him. To put it bluntly, she was seducing him. If she took the bait, it meant that the lovers were together. If she didn't, it meant that she was shameless. Mother Chow was furious. "Chow Chu, is this something you should say to your elders? You're a student. Why are you messing around with a professor? Look at how others see you. You've embarrassed the Chow family." "Are you done?" Shi Shang's expression was calm. "If you're done, please go back. Don't block the way." "Chow Chu." Mother Chow grabbed Shi Shang's hand. "Are you trying to turn the world upside down? Come home with me." Shi Shang broke free from Mother Chow, but she raised her hand and slapped her. Shi Shang moved to the side and missed her face. The slap landed on her shoulder with a resounding slap. "Chu Chu, are you okay?" Chen Shi rushed out of nowhere. Shi Shang looked at Mother Chow coldly. "Where's I's sword?" Mother Chow broke out in a cold sweat under Shi Shang's stare. She was her mother. She didn't believe that she would dare to do anything. With this thought, Mother Chow regained her confidence. "Chow Chu, what's with that look? Do you want to hit your mother?" "Hit you?" Shi Shang's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. "Are you worthy?" Mother Chow's face was like a color palette. All kinds of emotions intertwined, but most of them were anger and a trace of hatred. Chapter 436. Shi Shang broke free from Mother Chow, but she raised her hand and slapped her. Shi Shang moved to the side and missed her face. Instead, the slap landed on her shoulder. The sound of the slap was very loud. "Chu Chu, are you okay?" Chen Shi rushed out of nowhere. Shi Shang looked at Mother Chow coldly. "Where's I's sword?" Mother Chow broke out in a cold sweat under Shi Shang's stare. She was her mother. She didn't believe she would dare to do anything. With that thought, Mother Chow regained her confidence. "Chow Chu, what's with that look in your eyes? Do you want to hit your mother?" "Hit you?" Shi Shang's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. "Are you worthy?" Mother Chow's face was like a color palette. All kinds of emotions intertwined, but most of them were anger and a trace of hatred. Mother Chow broke out in a cold sweat under Shi Shang's stare. She was her mother. She didn't believe she would dare to do anything. With that thought, Mother Chow regained her confidence. "Chow Chu, what's with that look in your eyes? Do you want to hit your mother?" "Hit you?" Shi Shang's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. Are you worthy? Mother Chow's face was like a color palette. All kinds of emotions intertwined, but most of them were anger and a trace of hatred. Chu, Auntie, calm down. Chen Shi stood between them. Auntie, give Chu a chance to explain. What's there to explain? There are photos. It's clear that I sent her here to study, not to hook up with men. Mother Chow's words made Chen Shi uncomfortable. When such a big thing happened, a mother's first reaction should be to suppress it. How could a mother not care about her daughter's reputation? Yet, she came to school to cause trouble for Chu. I want to. What can you do about it? Shi Shang snorted coldly. You unfilial daughter. Why did I give birth to you? You're so troublesome. I should have never given birth to you. You want to shove me back? It's too late. There's no medicine for regret in this world. If you respect me, I'll respect you 3 times. Shi Shang's principles had always been like this. You. Mother Chow was so angry that she gasped. Chow Chu. A magnetic voice sounded from behind. A tall figure came over and pulled Shi Shang into his arms. Are you okay? All hands and feet. Only then did Qin Ji's anxious heart relax. He hugged Shi Shang and looked at Mother Chow. Auntie Chow, I was the one who pursued Chow Chu first. If you have any problems, come at me. Qin Ji's appearance was like pushing things to a climax. If it weren't for him hugging Shi Shang, Mother Chow would probably still think highly of Qin Gu. Qin Ji's academic qualifications could be said to be shining, and he was a professor at such a young age. The bad thing was that they were teacher and student. Mr. Qin, my daughter is still young and insensible. There is no future between the two of you. Don't ruin your own future. I only have her now. Qin Ji's tone was firm. So, I'm sorry, Auntie Chow, but I won't let her go. Shi Shang squeezed Qin Ji's hand. She was enough. He could give up everything, but he could not give up on her. Mother Chow really fainted from anger. Chow Chen watched from the crowd for who knows how long. When Mother Chow fainted, she rushed out and called for an ambulance to send her to the hospital. Originally, this matter was going to blow up, but with the school's notice, it immediately died down. Professor Qin had resigned. Those who didn't know the reason thought Qin Gu had resigned for Shi Shang. Now, the envious and jealous women could circle the earth hand in hand. But there were also people who thought highly of this couple. To resign for the other party, if this wasn't true love, then what was? Shi Shang had also withdrawn from school. Qin Gu wasn't here, and the FL was going abroad. What was she still doing here? The person who was the most reluctant was probably Chen Shi. The two of them met in the library. As for why the library? Who knew what was wrong with Chen Shi? You're really quitting school? Chen Shi looked reluctant. Professor Qin left. You don't have to leave. There's no point in staying here. Shi Shang shook his head. You think I only have a little place in your heart? Chen Shi was furious. Do you have any conscience? To think I treated you so well. Shi Shang's lips twitched. I'll accompany you in school. Qin Gu will beat you to death. Chen Shi coughed. If Professor Qin treats you badly, tell me. I'll beat him up for you. With your body. Can you beat him? Chu, don't look down on me. I look skinny with clothes on, but I'm muscular when I take them off. Chen Shi defended himself. Look, I have biceps. Shi Shang didn't want to discuss this with him, something his future girlfriend cared about. Give me a call when you start your internship. I'll arrange an internship for you. It was so difficult for university students to find jobs these days. They had to use their resources wisely, so Chen Shi didn't try to be pretentious. They were all brothers, so being pretentious would seem awkward. I'll be relying on Mr. Chow in the future. I hope Mr. Chow doesn't mind. Take this little brother to be the CEO and marry a beautiful, rich, and beautiful woman. Chen Shi bowed strangely. He glanced at the person who came in. Your professor is here. I'll leave first. Chen Shi was still very afraid of Qin Gu, even if the professor was his brother's man. Qin Gu walked to Shi Sheng. You don't have to drop out. His departure didn't affect her at all. Yes, it doesn't matter to me whether I go to school or not. Shi Sheng changed his position. Anyway, it's meaningless for me to F*CKU without you. Qin Gu reached out to pat her head. University life is also a process. I don't want you to regret it in the future. I won't regret it when I'm with you. Shi Sheng winked at him. Qin Gu was silent for a moment. Have you settled everything at school? Yes. Other than Chen Shi, there was nothing else to settle at school. Shi Sheng tilted his head to look at Qin Gu. Suddenly, he hooked his finger at him. Qin Gu looked around. This was a library, so there were many people. But now that they were all like this, there was nothing to be concerned about. He walked to the seat next to Shi Sheng and leaned in front of him. Shi Sheng pouted and nibbled on his lips like a puppy. The female lead lay on the table, and the boy cooperated and leaned closer. The sun was shining brightly outside the window, and the flowers were blooming. The scene was beautiful and tranquil. People around them took out their phones to take pictures and post them on WeChat. So gentle. Ah. No, my girlish heart is going to explode. Professor Qin and Xiao Chu are a good match. I want such a beast too. Where can I buy such a professor? Give me a dozen. Their pictures were making their presence known on the school forum. What are we going to eat tonight? Qin Gu hugged Shi Sheng and walked out. You. Little fairy. There's meat, you can vote now. Cherub. No details. Bad comments. Little fairy, if there were details, you wouldn't be able to see me again. You won't even be able to eat meat scraps in the future. Cherub. You have a point. Little fairy. Then do we vote? Cherub. No. Little fairy. Why? Furious emoji. Cherub. Capricious. Your friend Little Fairy has gone offline. Chapter 437. After Chao Qian left the country, the plot entered a 5-year preparation period. But Shi Sheng was still in a mess. The reason was simple. Qin Xian didn't give up and tried to cause trouble for Shi Sheng time and time again. The most serious time, she even tried to kidnap Shi Sheng. Of course, the result was that Shi Sheng extorted 30 million yuan from Qin Xian as compensation for the fright and kidnapped her for 3 days. Even if Qin Xian knew that Shi Sheng kidnapped her, she had no evidence and couldn't do anything to Shi Sheng. Besides, she was the one who wanted to kidnap him. After Qin Xian was rescued, she was sent abroad. The consequence of this incident was that the Qin family relentlessly attacked Qin Ge's company. As long as the Qin family could use their resources, they would use them to suppress them. But Qin Gu still managed to slowly expand his company under this oppression. As a newly minted bachelor, Qin Gu was pursued by many rich young ladies. Girls nowadays didn't care about being reserved. They would do whatever they liked. Shi Sheng, who had already watched his man being confessed to countless times, was very calm. I can't go up, so why can she? A certain fan pointed at Shi Sheng, who was walking towards the private elevator, and shouted at the receptionist. The receptionist smiled. Miss, please don't interfere with our work. If you want to see Chairman Qin, please make an appointment first. If Chairman Qin agrees to see you, we will naturally let you up. She has an appointment? Why would our CEO's wife need an appointment? The receptionist complained inwardly, but she maintained a smile on her face. I'm sorry, but I can't answer this question. The fan's eyes turned and suddenly ran towards Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng just happened to enter the elevator. The fan rushed in, and the elevator doors closed. The people below didn't manage to stop her in time. Shi Sheng was dressed very casually. It was not because of the material, it was not cheap. The fans sized her up. Are you an employee here? The girl looked to be around 17 or 18 years old. She had a delicate face and a pair of big, watery eyes. She was a little smart and didn't seem to have any bad intentions. No. The girl puffed up her cheeks and snorted. Then why did they let you in and not me? Maybe because I'm good-looking. Shi Shang smiled narcissistically. The little girl blinked and sized up Shi Shang. You're lying. Although the woman in front of him was indeed very beautiful, this was not a place where one could enter just because they were good-looking. If her face was useful, why would she bother with the receptionist for so long? Ding! When the elevator door opened, Shi Shang went out first. When the girl reached the floor, she was a little timid and stretched her head to look outside. This floor was the president's office, but there weren't many office areas. Most of the places had been converted into leisure areas. At first glance, it was full of greenery, and it was very comfortable. The young lady hesitated for a few seconds before dashing out of the elevator just as the doors were about to close. Are you here to see Qin Gu? The little girl jogged to catch up with the Shi Shang. Why are there so few people here? There were many people coming and going in other people's offices. However, only 2 seats were occupied. The rest of the seats were empty. Why do you need so many people? This makes me look like a CEO. The little girl said matter-of-factly, my dad has a few secretaries. Shi Shang was speechless. Did she read too many CEO novels? Sister Chow, this is... One of the secretaries in the office looked up and saw the little girl beside Shi Shang. She couldn't help but ask, "You're President Qin's fan?" The secretary was speechless. "You're bringing a fan to see your husband? Mrs. President, you're so careless. Aren't you afraid that these flirtatious B***cheese outside will seduce the president?" Faced with the secretary's question, the little girl was no longer as arrogant and domineering as before. She seemed a little uneasy, probably afraid of being kicked out. President Qin is in a meeting. It will end in 20 minutes, the secretary said to Shi Shang and lowered her head to do her own work. Shi Shang nodded and glanced at the little girl. Come in. Huh? Can I? The little girl looked curiously into the office that Shi Shang had pushed open. She thought she would be kicked out. This sister was so nice. The little girl looked around the office curiously. It was spacious and bright, but most of it was filled with bookshelves. The bookshelves were almost full of books. The little girl walked to the end of the bookshelf curiously. Hey, President Qin has this book too? The little girl seemed to have discovered a new continent and pulled out a book from the bookshelf. Ah, it's a signed edition. I don't even have one. Shi Shang glanced at the book in her hand. That book. Why did it look so much like hers? I really like this author. The little girl ran over with the book in her hand. Sister, do you know this author? Her books are super good. Every story is very attractive, but she doesn't like to fill in the gaps. She has only published 2 books, but the sales are very good. The author you're talking about is me. Shi Shang's 2 books were actually not finished, but compared to the others, those 2 books were better. At least the number of words had increased. Do you think President Qin will give this book to me? The little girl's face was full of anticipation. She had completely forgotten that she was here for President Qin. No. This book was specially collected by Qin Gu. How could he give it to her? Huh. So stingy. The little girl put the book back with resentment. She looked at it a few times, unwilling to give up. She also wanted a signed edition. It was all because there were only 20 signed editions. Nowadays, they couldn't be bought at a high price. Shi Shang stood up and searched the bookshelf. She remembered that there were a few sample books sent by the editor. Shi Shang looked up at the book on the top. Which idiot put it so high? Just as Shi Shang was about to move the stool to get it, an arm suddenly reached out from behind and took the book down. You're done. Shi Shang took the book naturally. Qin Gu had come in at some point. The little girl was sitting on the sofa, dumbfounded. Yes. Qin Gu glanced at the little girl and said unhappily, "Where did you go to hook up with a little girl again?" She looked cute, and it was obvious that she was her type. "I'm innocent. She's here for you." "You brought her here for me?" Qin Ji's eyes were a bit dangerous. "Aren't you afraid that I'll fall in love with someone else?" Didn't she have any sense of danger? What's there to be afraid of? "If you fall in love with someone else, I'll just kill the two of you," Shishang said casually. Qin Gu was helpless. He was the only one who could stand her strange and violent personality. Shishang went to her desk, picked up a pen, and signed her name on the book. "Now that you've seen the person and the book, let's go home." Shishang handed the book to the little girl. The little girl was still confused. She looked at the book and then at Shishang. Half a minute later. "Ah, you're Dada. I actually saw the real person." The little girl was shocked. "Qin Gu, didn't she say that she was here for him? Why did it feel like she was here for his wife?" "Dada, when are you going to fill in the holes in Beauty's soul? I want to see the ending." "Dada, which character do you like the most in your book?" "Ah, I like him the most too. He's so handsome." "Dada, let me treat you to dinner." Chapter 438. Qin Gu didn't want to go out to eat with this silly girl, but his wife seemed to be quite willing. She really liked this kind of girl. He had to be more careful in the future. She looked cute, had a cute personality, spoke well, and knew how to act coquettishly. Why didn't he know these skills? After dinner, he sent the chattering girl home and brought Shishang home with a dark face. "What are you angry about?" Shishang looked at Qin Gu in confusion. Qin Gu stared at Shishang with a cold face, almost writing the words, "I'm very angry now, I need a kiss to feel better." This guy was trying to get a kiss again. Shishang ignored him and turned to walk to the study. Qin Ji's eyes darkened and followed Shishang in. He moved to Shishang's side and said in a seductive voice, "Chu, let's try the study today." "Try your ass. Are you done with your work?" Shishang slapped Qin Gu on the head. Qin Gu said seriously, "We have to strike a balance between work and rest." "Strike a balance my ass. Get back to work." Shishang kicked Qin Gu. "If you touch me again, I'll chop you into pieces." Qin Gu let go of Shishang with a bitter face and went to deal with the unfinished work. When he was done, it was almost 11 o'clock. Shishang was curled up in the rocking chair next to him and seemed to have fallen asleep. Qin Gu liked having her accompany him. Even if they were doing their own things, it felt good to be able to see her when he looked up. Qin Gu gently carried her to the bed and sighed. He had been abstinent for almost a week. Abstinence taught Qin Gu. Shishang received a call from Father Chow on a snowy day. In the past 2 years, Shishang hadn't been in contact with the Chow family much. He only called Father Chow occasionally. Father Chow wanted to meet her this time. However, when Shishang arrived, he was surprised to see Mother Chow. Mother Chow was found to have health problems. She couldn't overwork herself, so she had resigned and was now a housewife at home. She was dressed much better than before. "Chu," Father Chow greeted with a smile. Mother Chow snorted and turned her head to the other side. Father Chow was embarrassed. Shishang didn't mind. He sat down and ignored Mother Chow. "Dad, what's the matter?" Chu, how have you been recently?" Chow Fu did not immediately answer. Instead, he asked about her recent situation with concern. "Not bad." Father Chow rambled on for a long time without getting to the point. Mother Chow kicked Father Chow under the table, but Father Chow still didn't say anything. Mother Chow couldn't help but say, "Chow Chu, the situation at home isn't too good. Take out some money to deal with the emergency." Mother Chow spoke in a righteous manner, as if she thought highly of her by allowing her to take the money. Shishang looked at Father Chow without saying anything. Father Chow was already so old, but he still felt a little ashamed. Chu, The situation at home isn't very good. If you have spare money, I'll lend it to you. What do you mean by borrowing? Isn't she your Chow family's daughter? Mother Chow frowned in dissatisfaction. Giving money to the family is considered borrowing? Have you raised her for nothing all these years? What nonsense are you talking about? Father Chow's face showed rare anger. Choo-Choo's money didn't grow on trees. Mother Chow looked unhappy. That CEO Chin's company is so big now. Why would he care about this little bit of money? Father Chow regretted bringing Mother Chow today. Choo-Choo, don't listen to your mother's nonsense. If you have it, lend it to me. If not, then forget it. I'm talking nonsense. Father Chow's face darkened. Mother Chow was a little scared and shut her mouth, but she glared at Shi Shang. Shi Shang pretended not to see Mother Chow. If he really wanted to argue with her, she would just be angry all day. How much do you need? Shi Shang asked as he took out the check from his bag. 5 million. Take as much as you can. When I get through this, I'll definitely return it to you. Shi Shang wrote the check and handed it to Father Chow. Father Chow looked at the number on it and was stunned. Choo-Choo, this is such a large sum of money. Do you want to discuss it with Mr. Chin? Chin Ji's company was doing well, but this was such a large sum of money. Mother Chow took the check from Father Chow. What's there to discuss? I've already written it. Dad, if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Shi Shang stood up. Choo-Choo, why don't you leave after dinner? Father Chow urged him to stay. Shi Shang glanced at Mother Chow. Mother Chow stood up, probably because of the 5 million. I won't eat with you. I don't want to make this wretched girl angry. Shi Shang accompanied Father Chow for dinner. Without Mother Chow present, the meal was quite pleasant. Choo-Choo, when are you and Mr. Chin getting married? Father Chow asked before they left. Soon. Chin Ji's company had stabilized, so the wedding should be on the agenda. It's good to settle down early. Mr. Chin is a good man. Father Chow said a few words before letting Shi Shang leave. Shi Shang stood on the street and looked at the snow on the ground, shivering. After this winter, the female lead should be back, right? Shi Shang went to the company to pick up Chin Gu. No matter how busy Chin Gu was, he would go to work on time every day. Even if the sky fell, the people below had to hold it up. Shi Shang's car had just stopped downstairs when Chin Gu stepped out and jumped into the front passenger seat. Choo-Choo, it's so cold. Help me warm up. Chin Gu stretched out his hand in front of Shi Shang. Shi Shang squeezed his hand. It was indeed very cold. She sent some spiritual energy into his hand, and Chin Ji's cold body immediately warmed up. He liked the warmth that she gave him. It always made him feel very comfortable. Chin Gu couldn't help but kiss Shi Shang. It seemed that they hadn't tried it in the car yet. Shi Shang didn't want to have car sex, so he taught Chin Gu a lesson and drove home. Chin Gu went to cook with a heart full of resentment. He was already so hard-working, so why didn't his wife let him sleep with her? Choo-Choo, do you know who I met today? Chin Gu suddenly remembered something and winked at Shi Shang, who was standing next to him and eating secretly. Who? It's that President Zhao from last time. Chin Ji's face was a bit gloomy when he said this. This circle wasn't big, but it wasn't small either. After so many years, this was the first time he and this President Zhao had met. Him. Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. He's about to be unlucky. Don't worry about him. Chin Gu blinked. Choo-Choo, what did you do behind my back? He knew very well how capable his wife was. The fact that he could make the company so big in such a short time was definitely due to her. Isn't their company going to release household robots soon? Chin Gu nodded, his expression slightly serious. Our products are still in the research and development stage. They're one step ahead of us and will seize a lot of market share. Chin Ji's company was in the technology industry, and his goal had always been robots. A layman wants to be the first to eat crabs? Shi Shang snorted. He only had this idea after he bought Chanfeng Technology Company, Limited. However, the core programming for the robots owned by Chanfeng was bought from Chan Shi and the others. What's more, I've already seen the code. Do you think he can succeed? Qin Gu. This hole was really deep. Chapter 439. Just as Shi Shang said, President Zhao's robots had no problems in the early stages, but all kinds of problems arose in the later stages. They didn't listen to instructions, and some even went completely out of control. This robot had a lot of hype in the early stages, and it had the support of the government, so the sales were exceptionally good. The factory worked overtime to produce a new batch of robots. But after this happened, who would dare to use it? A batch of robots was stuck in the warehouse, untouched. While President Zhao didn't know what to do, Shi Shang gave Qin Gu an idea. Go and buy those robots at a low price. I've seen their robots. There's no problem with their appearance, and the materials used are the best. Qin Gu frowned. But it's useless even if we buy them. Our own products are still in development, and they can't be used without the program. You just need to modify them. You can go and buy them. Qin Gu had always listened to his wife. Even if his wife wanted to squander, he had to give them to her. So, Qin Gu ignored the objections of the company and bought those robots. Shi Shang occupied the company's laboratory and worked overtime with a few people to modify a program. To the people in the laboratory, Shi Shang was simply a legend. Her ideas were far ahead of the technology of this world, but she could put those ideas to good use and make something real. This Mrs. President was actually an alien with a cheat code, right? Mrs. President, we want to use this for the promotional video. Can you take a look? The people in the publicity department clicked on a video. The video was the one where Shi Shang used the Mary Sue sword to beat up Qin Xion's bodyguards outside the school. This joke was still very popular even now. Why does this person look so much like Mrs. President? Someone asked in confusion. After his reminder, the others were suddenly enlightened. They were wondering why he looked so familiar. They had always been curious about how Mrs. President and their president got together. Now that they saw this video, they found some comments below. Although it was a long time ago, the information was still there. Mrs. President is actually a student at University A. I remember President Qin was a professor at University A before. The discussions below became louder and louder, and the topic was all about the Pacific. In the end, the theme of the promotional video was the one where Shi Shang beat up the bodyguards. The planner even wrote a short story and inserted it into the promotional video. Although the story was very Mary Sue, but with the special effects of the Mary Sue sword and the silly and cute robots, the promotional effect was exceptionally good. Remnant of the Equal of Heaven. A classic reappearance? Although I didn't know what the planner was thinking, I really wanted to laugh. Eat sauerkraut every day. The halo of Mary Sue illuminates the earth, and the flames of war never cease. Time cannot stop Mary Sue from conquering the world. Submit. Fish-lipped mortals. Plato's death. I give this promotional video 101 points. Mary Sue has reached a new height, but I just can't hate it. Middle Ages. When the sword of Mary Sue appears, who dares to stand against it? P.S. I feel like this effect isn't as good as the original one. Is it just my imagination? Zhao Dada. I heard that the Mary Sue sword in the original video came with its own special effects. This promotional video is obviously post-production. Because the special effects of the Mary Sue sword in the promotional video were not as good as in the original video, the people in the publicity department were worried to death. The post-production effects could only reach this point. Thus, some people thought of the main character of the video. She was the president's wife. What was there to be conflicted about? However, the CEO's wife said that she didn't. The iron sword does not emit Mary Sue light. Now it glows green, and it changes color every year. Shi Shang suspected that it wanted to try all the colorful lights to see which one looked better. Leveling up this way, it was simply going to heaven. In the end, the promotional video was still the same. Anyway, it had been maliciously modified to this state by the planning team. This small flaw was nothing. The cost price of this robot was very low, and different experience plans were released. The experience lasted for a month, and there were no problems for a month. The negative impact of the robot was gradually eliminated. When the robot was officially pre-sold, the effect was particularly good. When Qin-Ji's own company's high-end robot promotional video was released, they immediately received many cooperation intentions and an olive branch from the government. During this period, Shishang and Qin Gu basically stayed in the company every day. Sometimes, they would rest in the company. When the busy time was over, Shishang only felt tired. This money was too damn tiring. She wanted to go back and rest. Shishang left Qin Gu alone in the company and asked the company's driver to send her home. As soon as she entered the neighborhood, she heard someone calling her. Choo-choo. Shishang turned around and saw Father Chow, who had aged a lot. Dad. Father Chow sized up the room. It wasn't big. It was a house with 3 rooms and 1 living room. It was tidied up neatly, and the kitchen looked like it was often used. Shishang placed a glass of water in front of Father Chow. Dad, why didn't you call me when you came over? If I didn't come back today, how long would you have waited for me? Choo-choo. Father Chow seemed to find it hard to speak. Shishang looked at Father Chow strangely. What happened recently? Father Chow organized his words and took a while to clearly explain the situation. He had originally planned to pay Shishang a sum of money first, but Mother Chow secretly took the money and gave it to Chow Chen. Mother Chow meant that they were all family, so it didn't matter who the money was given to. Chow Chen was currently overseas. How hard must it be for her to live alone? Shishang had clung on to Qin Gu, so she didn't care about this little bit of money. Father Chow and Mother Chow had a big fight over this. Fighting meant digging up old scores. Now, all sorts of scores had been settled. The two impulsively divorced. Father Chow left with almost nothing, and Mother Chow only gave him a card. There was only about 200,000 in the card. The rest of the company, house, and car were all taken by Mother Chow. Shishang was completely dumbfounded when he heard the whole thing. She even agreed to such conditions? Father Chow smiled bitterly. We've been married for so many years. As a man, I can't let her be helpless for the rest of her life, right? He was also tired of arguing with her recently. Does she know how to manage the company? Shishang was speechless. Wasn't giving the company to her for her to squander? Mother Chow was also awesome. She wasn't even this awesome in the plot. Why did she follow the female lead's lead? Scary. Father Chow's expression changed, but he had already given it to her. There was nothing he could do. Shishang sighed. Dad, stay here for now. No need. I just came to take a look. Dad, I can't find anyone to talk to about these things. It's really hard to keep it bottled up in my heart. Sometimes, it was necessary to find someone to talk to. Father Chow turned to leave. Dad can still move. I was able to start from scratch back then, so I can still do it now. Dad. Shishang stopped him. There are plenty of rooms here. Stay here for now. I'll look around tomorrow to see if there are any suitable houses for you. Father Chow relaxed when he heard that he wouldn't be staying with them for long. All right. He didn't want to disturb his daughter and future son-in-law. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.